Uh, Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hi, Sorcery and Socialism. CT, did you know you have a pleasant voice? Yes, I do. Good afternoon. Hi, Dot. Hope you all had a good breakfast. I had a bagel with a Georgian herb blend and cream cheese and cured meat. It was delicious. I fuck with cereal. Who doesn't fuck with cereal, honestly? Hi, Ellie. Just woke up like some sort of gross wakelet. Herb blend. Yeah, I put herbs in a blender. I processed them in my food processor. And there was walnuts, and there was almonds, and there was fenugreek, and there was a little bit of pepper, and there was a little bit of garlic. Walnuts aren't herbs. Yeah, the main ingredient was herbs, dumbasses. But there was also other stuff, and that's what I'm talking about. Get your head back in your brain. It would have killed you. It's just herbs. What's the matter with herbs? I mean, there was some peppers in it. That was really it. Did a talk on foraging and trans joy in nature yesterday. Neat. Hi, frantically mashing. Welcome to chat. Coffee twice, then I go hard for an early lunch. Respect all breakfast, but I can't seem to do them in the morning. I feel it's important to make time for breakfast. Something you eat during the day will be breakfast. You gotta eat a first thing in the day, unless you're fasting. You know, I've never had a pickled thistle. May loves rooting around in the dirt for any reason. That's valid. Unseelie Grimalkin. Hi, welcome to chat. So glad I was able to catch this via Mental Health Day. I need to get an herb blend debate for mental health reasons. Yeah. And that's the main thing we talk about is what is and isn't herbs. None of this religion shit. We're mainly here to talk about what nuts are. I mean, it's my understanding that most bones are found in the dirt. Unless you find it, like, in a thing. Hi, Torakasi. Welcome to chat. The herb schism divided the court. None survived the slaughter. Most bones are found in meat. Now, they're, like, being used, though. You don't, like, find them in meat. You find them other places. They're supposed to be in meat. Like, nobody goes to a potato farm and goes, dude, look what I found. It's a potato. It's like, yeah, they're supposed to be there. You didn't really find that. It's just where it is. Good morning, Chimera. Hi, Giraffe. Welcome to chat. Glad you could stop by. We're going to talk about Gnosticism today. We're actually mostly going to talk about what isn't Gnosticism. But we're going to podcast for a little bit, wait for people to show up. My bone can often be found in, well, I shan't say. Crass, band. Still thinking about Masonic boy moding, I won't lie. It will happen. It will happen. I have a couple people I need to talk to, but I want that to be a thing. For those that aren't aware, I'm thinking of trying to join the Freemasons. Hey, Tara. Crass Bandicoot. Apparently an herb is any plant that doesn't develop a persistent woody tissue. Yeah, I believe that's why banana trees are considered herbs. Do you still need to know anything about Freemasonry to join the Freemasons? I don't think so. Wait, what are Freemasons again? Quick version? They used to be a kind of medieval, like, Renaissance guild for actual stonemasons. But nowadays, they're just like a social club for old dudes to, like, hang out and drink together and occasionally do charitable work. New Grineer weapons? Remember seeing an image of a Grineer misspelled Grinner? The Grinner. Also, hi, Baconside. Welcome to chat. Are they new Grineer weapons? I thought they were like tech rot weapons, or they're Skuldra weapons. Do they still do masonry stuff ever? I don't think so. Oh, so they're chill? Yeah, they're chill. No, Grineer? Okay. It shows what I know. The Grinners. Oh yes, the chain tonfa. I did get that with the Galleon of Ghouls event. A galleon. A ghoul. Look in Freemasonry, no Masons. There used to be Masons. It's built around Masonry. Paper Mario Wiki. That event is wacky since everyone is dying from self-damage. It's fun. I wish they would do more shit like that. Are they even free? I guess. CT, I made some pizza. Do you want some? Hell yes, I do. That's why you run in Naros. Yeah, for that mission, I've been running Protea, just using Blaze Artillery the entire time. Your great-grandfather was a Mason? Yeah, I think a lot of people in our, like, grandparents, great-grandparents generation were Masons. Oh, they don't let you use abilities during it. Yeah, okay. I was recently trying to grind out the fucking Grendel missions, where they strip all of your fucking mods, and for that, I was using Protea. That was a real fucking challenge, that was. He's also a member of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, and I think the two memberships were related. Yeah, a lot of, basically what the Freemasons turned into was kind of like an informal method. Like, okay, you know industry conferences where it's like you all show up together and you have fucking... It's like everyone who's in data management securities shows up at a hotel and you all, like, talk to each other and make industry connections. That's what the Freemasons used to be, and so there's a lot of, like, industry-specific splinter groups of the Freemasons that are basically just that. It was a trained nerd secret society? I don't think it was a trained nerd secret society. I think it was like a trained engineer secret society. Well, and most of them are, like, patterned off the Freemasons. Morning, Wolf. Welcome to chat. We're going to talk about Gnosticism today. Train engineers are almost by definition train nerds. Fair. Fair enough. Wasn't Fred Flintstone in a parody of the Freemasons? Yeah, a lot of like adult cartoons have parodies of the Freemasons. Like, I believe it was the Order of Water Buffaloes is the Flintstone ones, and then there was also a Simpsons one, right? Such an easy pattern to steal if you want your society to feel fancy and occult. Yeah, it's also just stonecutters. That's the one. Yeah. Well, it's also just like a good way to structure your group. Because originally, the Freemasons were like, it was literally the Masons building all of the big Gothic cathedrals in Europe during the Renaissance, which made their labor very, very highly in demand. So they formed a secret society to share trade secrets so they could discuss their techniques and preserve them without, other Masons being able to steal them. So it's like, okay, if you want to, it's kind of a guild, kind of a labor union thing, kind of a like internal labor conference thing. The idea being that like once you're a Freemason for 2 years, you get to learn these like extra special masonry techniques that means that the Catholic Church has to pay you more money. They ever tell you about the anti-Masonic party? First party to hold a political convention in America, whose first presidential candidate was a Mason. I know about the anti-Masonic party. Yes, there was a period in American history where it was like Americans being very Protestant. Like they really had it really had a stick up their ass about the Jesuits, and so there was a period in American history where the Freemasons were seen as very similar to like the Jesuits, like that they're basically as bad as Jewish people, right? So it was like a weird super reactionary nativist party that was like cloaking all of its rhetoric in anti-Masonic rhetoric. That rules. That doesn't rule. Yup. Do you know about morphic resonance? Yes, I know about morphic resonance. A period in America was very Protestant. Yeah, it's still Protestant. I know that. But was like politically organized along specifically Protestant conspiracy theories rather than like general Christian conspiracy theories. Like this was a period in American history where like you had conspiratorial anti-Catholicism. USA and the Qing dynasty getting weird about Jesuits. What's your opinion on morphic resonance? It's fucking just doctrine of signatures. Like the medievals were doing all this shit like 1,000 years earlier. About the morphic grid. We've elected Catholics. JFK being Catholic was an issue in like 1960 compared to Biden when it like wasn't even mentioned. That is kind of crazy that like 50 years earlier, like Biden would not have been elected because he would have been like it's controversial that he was Catholic. Jesuits are the coolest Catholic sect. They're kind of reading themed, which is cool. People lost their shit over Biden, just not as badly. Yeah, but they didn't lose their shit over Biden because he was Catholic, right? The Morph Grid, Power Rangers. Well, I don't know about that. Do you think heaven has Jim Crow laws? People in the era right after the Civil War definitely were saying shit like that, though. I have some fairly academic beef with the term American civil religion. I think it's a lot of how that terminology is used is very like anything I don't like is like a religion, which is inherently bad. kind of flattens a lot of criticisms of state apparatuses and whatnot, but like right after the Civil War in Jim Crow, there was a period where people were fucking talking about Robert E. Lee and the Confederacy as if it was like the fall of Zion. like the destruction, that was their destruction of the first temple. Like preachers would actively be organizing around like, we should talk about Robert E. Lee like he was Moses. Like that fucking happened. The implications of an Austinian attaining the papacy. I don't know, man. I don't really care. Correct. Caught. Hear about the child anti-pope? What, like in general? Or was there like, did something happen like yesterday? No, this is recent. Yeah, I heard that like there was like some third grader class that held like a mock conclave. Yeah. It was like a second grade class that held a mock conclave to elect a cardinal or something. It's cute. I think that's fun. Americans are washed enough to be pope now. A popelet is born. What the fuck does he say in Steel Path? It's like, your enemies have grown stronger. About the idea that morphic resonance is responsible for physical morphology over genetics? No. Like, that's not true. It's a neat idea. It's not true. Are we talking about the same thing? Hang on. Let me Google this shit. What are we talking about here? Yeah. Self-organizing systems inherit a collective memory from the past of similar systems. Yeah, it's like genealogical doctrine of signatures. It's fucking, it's like one theory of how, like, carcinization works in biology, which is, like, it's not true. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's not really... If all of my understandings of biology is, like, that's not how it works. It's interesting, though. It's like... Isfendel, I see... It's one of those ideas where I see why specific people get, like, fucking crazy about it. You know? It's one of those, like, evocative and just almost scientific enough ideas that makes a specific sort of person be like, this is the key to unlocking the entire ass universe. That type of idea is always very interesting to me, where it's like something structured closely enough to science without actually being science, but also having enough legitimacy to, like, kind of sneak past some people's, like, woo defenses. Yeah, it's unsubstantiated. But it's, like, just close enough that it, like, sneaks past some people. Yeah, like like being a chiropractor. Chiropracty. What is this morphic resonance thing? Is it like occult pseudoscience? Yeah. It's pseudoscience. Like music theory? Music theory is not pseudoscience. Like, it's... music theory is not, like, trying to be some objective science. It's just, like... It's almost like lexicography, where it's just, like, the study of how to write a thing down. Stay on that pseudo grind. Get that legitimacy. +2. Very good, Ellie. That's clever. Yeah, it's like a set of rules for art. Like, I don't think anyone doing music theory is under the... I don't think anyone doing music theory is under the, like, assumption that they're doing something objective and scientific, right? It's certainly weird as hell. Like, the fact that music is possible is one of those things that, philosophically speaking, like, we have no idea why. Hey, Cinemachine. A chiropractor influencer is probably going to snap someone's neck on camera someday. Yup. Fake it till you make it or something different. It's music theory to me is kind of like the fact that, like, like, language is possible, right? That you can, like, create symbols which then are able to, like, get ideas out of your brain and put them into somebody else's brain. Like, that shouldn't be possible, you know? That feels like it shouldn't be a part of the universe, but it is. It feels like a weird glitch in reality. And yet, it's, like, conclusively possible. That shit's weird. There's a potential magical application in the same way that literary theory has been very popular as a magical framework. Yes, exactly. Hello, John Coltrane, and your magical music theory. It's funny to watch people join the Fuser community with no music theory knowledge and wonder why their mods don't work. That's fun. Jury is still out on whether language is possible. There's, like, a... That's one of fucking Deleuze's main criticisms of, like, Freudian psychology and whatever that other guy is. The guy after Freud, whatever. But it's like, there's a... Whenever people run into a problem in psychology, or in, like, the philosophy of psychology that they can't solve, they're like, it's like a language. No, not Jung, the guy after Jung. Fucking... Lacan! Yeah. Fucking Lacan. Lacan loves to do that, where it's like, if he sees a gap in his psychological theory, he just says, it's like a language, and then doesn't really elaborate on what that means. That's one of, actually not Deleuze's, that's one of Guattari's main criticisms of Lacan. Hi, Kairos, welcome to chat. Real language has never been tried. Good morning. Psychology is interesting because it always seems like it can change every day. It's very new. Like, it's a very new field of study. Pseudo-Jung is such a cursed idea. It's, like, impossible. Like, Jung is such a, like, distinctive writer. Like, people have studied him well enough that it's like, we'll know if it's not Jung. I have a Deleuze and Guattari styled shirt after Dolce & Gabbana. That's fun. Isfindel, I'm trying to translate the Koine. I can't read it well enough. I can't read it. Fuck! My aura! With your help, we can create a language that has no distinction between sign and signifier. No, don't, it's just pseudo-Jungos. That's kind of what I thought. Been pronouncing Koine wrong? I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation. I've never actually heard somebody talk about it out loud. Now we're walking into Baudrillard. I wonder what the longest faking an author after they stopped writing there was. It's probably Aristotle. Like, I'm almost positive it would be Aristotle. Solomon? Ooh. Do we have a historical date for Solomon? Paul the Apostle? No, Aristotle's older than Paul. Aristotle mogs Paul by like 1,000 years. You have his Rebaram? Oh, for real? That's fucked. I'm never buying clothes from Aristotle again. You're on a roll today, Ellie. Good job. Kia Solomon was 15th century. Yeah, but people are still doing pseudo-Solomonic shit. Like, people are still pretending to be Solomon. Solomon reigned 931 BCE. Damn. I also don't think we actually know how Koine was pronounced. Just close enough. Possible. Theorized 931. Okay, yeah. I think that would make Solomon the oldest pseudo-literature we have, then. You have a very good idea? Okay, okay. Caught. Caught. I love telling my RPG group about King Solomon's DBZ fight with that one demon. Yeah, that shit's so cool! It's one of the only reasons why the deuterocanonical texts are the superior canon. Because you don't get the part where fucking Asmodeus, like, so long gay Bowser's him across an entire continent and he has to walk back to Jerusalem. That shit rules. Been playing Warframe since the first philosophy stream and since hit the definitive endgame walls with frightening force. Be grinding mastery now. Yeah. I mean, which endgame wall? There's a... Like, I think the first big thing is, like, just full formatting one frame and then squeezing as many mods as you can. CT is doing a classical pronunciation of the word, which is merely anachronistic, since Koine dialect didn't exist when that pronunciation existed, but of course the word didn't exist in that language. Ah, I see. Yeah, no, I hope... If y'all are having trouble with Warframe, there's plenty of veteran Warframe players in here that are happy to help you out. I love Gara since she can get like 95% damage resistance if you play her right. Yup. Gara's literally that post that's like, get your gay ass wards off of me, boy, I'm trying to take damage. Corvex Evangelist. I know I played Corvex. I don't really know what to do with him. Haven't played in years. Was Gara a lover back then? Was a Gara lover back then? I see. Love to have breakfast with Wizard Time. Yay! That's exactly the vibe I want for these streams. Just like, get yourself a snack, sit back, drink some tea. Let's talk about Gnosticism. Speaking of... Guess who I unlocked last night? Have you guessed? Do you know? Who could this be? It's Dante. Hi, Chestmouth. Welcome to chat. Been a devoted Caliban head since his rework. Recently fell into the Calervo mines. Hard to get out. Automod, you must allow fuck-ass. Everyone, allow fuck-ass. Open the gates. I have literally never played Dante before. I also, I was just dicking around last night to prepare for stream, and I got fucking, like... I got like 3 primes that I've been trying to build for months. I got a Galatine, I got a Hydroid Prime, I got 2 parts for Banshee Prime. Also, yeah, I love Dante's animations. They're so cool. Fuck ass. Let the asses be fucked. It gave everyone him a lot, lol. Hi, Unintellivision. Welcome to chat. That's an excellent first message. We're gonna be grinding Dante. I also got the AK-47 thing. Hi, Top Tier Cat. Welcome to chat. Oviposit. Knock that off. Crawl. Stop floating. Yeah, it's like straight up an AK. I believe canonically it's an AK. It's like an AK from an alternate timeline. I met up with an old friend the other day and I was explaining to them, they were like, oh yeah, I played Warframe like 8 years ago. And I'm like, you gotta come back. It's so much fun. There's a whole alternate timeline now that takes place in 1999 and you have to beat up an alternate timeline version of the band NSYNC. It's like a completely different game. There's like a ship-to-ship combat mode now. No one plays it. You can have sex now. Warframe, now with sex. You stopped playing right before New War dropped? Yeah, the new... They just added a new fucking Nemesis faction. There's like a Techrot fraction. There's a Techrot Nemesis faction now. And they're clearly like Techrot versions of the in-game boy band. How is the alternate timeline Clinton presidency? Does he still rule the alternate timeline USA? I don't know. I have no idea. Oh god, I'm gonna have to play Warframe more. Oh god. It's fun. They added a bunch of really cool shit, from what I've heard. Alright, we're gonna have to start off with low bounties. Because I haven't upgraded him at all. Oh, there's a dev stream tomorrow. Son of a bitch. That's cool. Need people to help me railjack off so I can kill my lich. Yup. I need to unlock all the fucking railjack shit too. Exterminate. That's probably a bit high level for me at the moment. Whatever. Just fucking try. If I lose, I lose. Alright. Gnosticism. So, that's what you all came here for, right? Learn about Gnosticism? Well, guess what, dumbasses, you foolish fools? Gnosticism didn't really exist. Not as a religion, right? For most of history, the only thing that we learned, the only thing that we knew about Gnosticism was from early church fathers talking about how it was heresy. You've got, like, Irenaeus is our biggest source for it. And if I had to describe Irenaeus, I would describe him as, like, kind of a discount Augustine. He wanted to be Augustine, where he was very interested in establishing an early Catholic Orthodox. Like, he wanted to establish what it meant to be a Christian. Because I think one of the most common understandings of what it meant to be a Gnostic, or what it meant to be a Christian in the early, like, from, like, death of Jesus to, like, I don't know, fucking 4th century-ish, is that, like, Jesus died, and there was one church founded by St. Peter, or I think it's St. Peter, and a bunch of people tried to do different shit, and they were heretics. And the church was like, no, you can't be part of the church. That is not fucking true, like, at all. The idea of, like, a Christian canon, or, like, the idea of what it meant to be a Christian, wasn't established until, like, the Byzantine Empire. Like, it took, like, 300 years. Yeah, Peter, okay. It took, like, 300 years for the Bible as we know it to be established as a series of canon texts. Yeah, fucking the Byzantine Empire. Until, like, Christianity was made the dominant religion of the later Roman Empire. That was it took until then for the actual Catholic Church to really coagulate into what we understand it to be now. Yeah, shit has to coagulate. It takes time. Like, so a lot of what is called Gnostic is not actually Gnostic. There's a lot, for the first, 400 years, in the scholarship that I was reading to prep for this stream, people call the crucifixion the Jesus event, which I quite like. Speaking of heresies, big ups to Docetism. At least you were funny about it. Yup, I love the Docetists. We'll talk about them in a second. When the Catholics and the Orthodox split. Yeah, basically, yeah. It was just the Eastern Roman Empire. The Jesus event. Coming to warfare. Yeah, it's fucking... Yeah, dude, you checked out the Jesus event? It's got a battle pass and everything. They put Sabrina Carpenter in the Jesus event. Coagulate. So imagine this, right? Because the Jesus movement, like the group of Jewish people that thought their rabbi was the Messiah, they got kind of crazy lucky. Because think about it. You think your guy is the son of God, right? And then he dies. He gets executed by the state. Basically every Christian was like, we know this shit was important, but we don't know what exactly it implies about our shit, right? We know that this was maybe the most important event in all of history, that our guy, the Messiah, died. I'm in awe of how you just get right up in there with an unranked loadout. Yeah, who fucking cares, man? Like, at this level of play, there's a lot of people just, completely carrying you, you don't have to really care at a certain point. I don't know if I could handle 125, but I can handle, 85. So yeah. A lot of early Christianity was basically Christians arguing, what was Jesus? We know that he was very important in the structure of reality. But we don't know exactly what his death implies about reality. You had, speaking of the Docetists, who were there was the Docetists, speaking of, were basically early Christians who believed that Jesus never actually had a flesh body. He was the Son of God, but he wasn't human. He was closer to a ghost that appeared to have human properties, right? And a lot of other people in the early church had big problems with that, because a huge part of Jesus's whole deal now is that he suffered on the cross, just like us, you know? Our God suffered just like humanity did, and so he truly does understand our struggle. Now, the Docetist doctrine explains shit like miracles a lot better, where it's oh no, he wasn't a guy, he was a big energy ghost, and that's why he could do special shit, and that's why we can't do special shit. But it also kind of makes the suffering a little less impactful, you know? Yes, they believed in dosa. They believed that Christ was actually a bunch of lamb meat wrapped in grape leaves and dough. You can do special shit, but you can't do magic special shit, right? At least according to you. Kind of makes it LARPing. Exactly. It's if the Docetists had their way, it's well, then Christ is just a weird energy ghost LARPing as a human, right? He didn't actually suffer. Well, that was just one of many things. It was well, maybe Christ was two people in one, where it was there was a divine Christ who didn't suffer, and there was also a human Christ who did suffer, and then after they died, they recombined in some way. Like Miku, yes. Exactly like Miku. That's the last thing that we're gonna say. Jesus was like Miku. Farewell, end stream. Alternate timeline where the Reeb was executed by the Clinton administration in 1993. And Habbadism as the state religion. You could make a religion out of this. New heresy unlocked. This is not a new heresy. This is a very old heresy. Or, oh wait, no, you're talking about the Clinton administration. Yes, that would be a new heresy. Although, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that the Chabad movement now thinks, there's some pretty wacky stuff in there in regards to them believing that one of their rabbis was the Messiah. But that's for a different stream. So one of the there's a lot of texts that are called Gnostic, right? And the thing about the Gnostics is that they were kind of the original heresy. The term heresy, if I recall correctly, first shows up in Irenaeus' text against the Gnostics. Like, the term is first used in Christianity to refer to Gnostics. And it's less okay, the text itself is very interesting. No one actually fucking reads this text, but against the Gnostics is quite interesting. Partially because, it comes in 5 books, and the first one is basically Irenaeus describing the Gnostics and what they believe, right? But it's less he talks about Gnostics as if they're a cohesive group and kind of details their beliefs, but that's not really historically accurate. What Irenaeus actually is talking about is a group of teachers that he disagrees with. There were a lot of bishops around the Roman Empire who all had their various parishes and ideas about things, and there was no real body that could effectively enforce any sort of canon yet, right? There were big conferences where people would argue about have arguments about stuff, but there was no real method of enforcing who got to teach what and when and where and how. And so Against the Heresies was very much just Irenaeus saying, here's these guys and I disagree with them. Let me destroy them with facts and logic. Hi, E-Critter, welcome to the stream. And the first book of Against the Heresies is basically Irenaeus saying, here's the Gnostics and what they believe. Can you believe it? He's clearly writing this shit down and just saying, all I need to do is state what here's what Gnostics actually believe. And then everyone reading my book will think it's so cringe that they will never, ever believe in Gnosticism ever again, right? That's very much how they believe it. Pizza. I've considered getting into Warframe, but I already have enough indefinite games I'm into available. Yup, I would... If you already have a patient gamer's bait, don't get into Warframe. Gnosticism was the first Wojak. Yeah, it's very much a get a load of these guys. Which is hilarious because he so faithfully records and describes what a lot of Gnostics believed that it actually makes it his work is very useful for fact-checking actual Gnostic beliefs. Because the other thing about Gnosticism that you have to remember... The other thing about Gnosticism that you have to remember is that for most of history, these texts were lost. We didn't actually... they were actively suppressed by the church. To the point where we only rediscovered the Gnostic... a lot of Gnostic texts in 1945. This is very recent scholarship. And so a lot of... It wasn't until, literally the last 100 years that we were able to actually read the original text for themselves. Oh, shit, I teleported back to the back room. For most of history, we couldn't actually see the texts themselves. We had to go on what Irenaeus and other writers said about the Gnostics. But now we have the actual books. And that's huge. That's part of why Gnostic scholarship changes so much. We are constantly learning new things about the Gnostics. And it's part of why, nowadays, the Gnostics, most academics don't really agree that Gnostics were one religion that was, competing with Christianity. It was more it was other early Christians debating about what an eventual Christianity should look like. Okay, let's actually play around with Dante's abilities here. It's oh, okay, I see. Oh, he has a summoned grimoire. That's neat. some Coptic monastery got the message that the texts were heretical, so they put them in jars and buried them in the ground. Yep, that is the Nag Hammadi library. It's one of the several corpuses that we've recovered. And like a lot of things in this era of occultism and religious history, we only know about it because someone like put a bunch of papyrus documents in a big jar and then buried it in the Egyptian desert. Another one is the Bruce Codex. That's the other one, the other big one that we know about. Interesting. Okay, I'm learning. Bruce. The Bruce Codex. Yeah, exactly. There's fucking, So, okay. So now you've all got... Do you guys have any questions about, like, the origins of Gnosticism? Like, what exactly this was, right? Before we move on, give me some questions to bounce off of. Has anyone asked the Demiurge what he thinks about this? Gnostic is like fish in terms of actually categorizing anything. There's a couple... There's basically 3 scholarly currents to that. And that is basically one, that you can just say... People saying Gnosticism willy-nilly, right? Just kind of using it for whatever they feel is appropriate. And then there's the people who think that Gnosticism as a term for describing these texts shouldn't be used. And then there's like... a third current, which is people who believe that Gnosticism is a term that can be used, but very sparingly and very specifically. I am of the third camp there. Where does the idea of the Demiurge come from? Is Sabaoth the god of Old Testament or just like Greek? Okay, excellent questions. Okay, let's start with... Did anything that was denounced as Gnosticism actually end up in some branch of mainstream Christianity? No, it was all explicitly rejected. There's basically nothing in Gnosticism that made its way into mainstream Christianity. The only, like, the closest you really get is some of the Ascent literature that made its way into the Enochian canon. And that only survives in the Ethiopian church. In the case where there's a possible ancestor belief or a group of similar beliefs after the fact, some scholars say that. I don't agree. Actually, fucking, Gershom Scholem argues that. He says, like, Christian Gnosticism is actually, like, it's actually a descendant of an earlier Jewish Gnosticism. But there's very little evidence of that actually existing, and to be fair, Scholem only argues that as, like, a potential, like, a theoretical precursor to a lot of, like, the Hechelo literature. And... the more you read about Gnosticism and the more that you try to put it in the context of, like, 4th century Rome, the more you realize, like, this was not a cohesive religious movement. It was more like a series of... It's more like a genre of literature than an actual cohesive movement. It's like a genre it's like a genre of religious literature that many early Christian bishops used for their own theories about Christology and whatever. Okay, so the Gnostics not being a definitive group or whatever, what are the average Gnostic beliefs? We will get there, yes. Yeah, in some ways it's used somewhat useful. Oh well, my question answered before it appeared on stream. Nice. Yay! So, okay, that brings up the question of, like, what the fuck is Gnosticism? Like, what exactly is in these texts that I've been teasing you with so far? Well, okay. I'm sure you all know the story of the Garden of Eden, right? God speaks the world into existence. He makes the Garden of Eden, puts a fruit of knowledge in it, and tells Adam and Eve not to eat it. And then there's a serpent, and it says you should eat the damn apple. And then they do, and they're thrown out of the garden. It's sundered. Humanity has commit an original sin, and the humanity's fucked. They're just inherently sinful, right? Unless, what if what if there was actually originally a more Neoplatonist entity that created that? So okay. There's like a single highest god, which depending on what Gnostic literature you're reading, is referred to as like Nous or the Great Invisible Spirit or the Bethos or what have you, right? The other thing with Gnostic literature, constantly contradicts each other. That's part of why it's hard to categorize all of this as Gnostic, is that they constantly disagree with each other. They call shit by different names. They have different versions of this mythology. But in general, you've got an ancient primordial being called the Great Invisible Spirit or the Bethos, which then contemplates itself. It has a first thought, right? And that first thought is referred to as the Barbello, which literally forethought. And in all of Gnostic mythology, that is the one thing that you could potentially use to characterize Gnostic mythology, is the existence of the figure of the Barbello. If your mythology has the Barbello in it, you might be able to call it Gnostic, even though a lot of these texts disagree on what the Barbello is, how important it is, but generally speaking, they all agree that the Barbello is female, right? Or is at least feminine in nature. It sort of exists beyond gender, but it is the womb in which the universe is created. And then usually, after the Barbello, there exists a sort of a Christ figure that generates itself from the existence of these other two things, and then through Christ and the Barbello, a group of aeons or sort of guiding principles of reality are created. And these aeons there's almost always 24 of them, exactly 24 of them, and they exist in pairs. First vampire gives me a big question. What is the relevance of Cain to Gnosticism? Ooh, good fucking question. We will get there. Okay. So, why were rivers so central to multiple Gnostic cosmology? Is it just the current cultural cachet they're casting in? Or is this a sort of connection between Gnostic beliefs and flowing water? I think it's just a remnant of the Platonist and Hellenic beliefs. Like, fucking... The rivers of the dead are crazy important to Hellenic mythology. That's one of the things, like, okay, if you recall our talk about Neoplatonism, and then you read the Gnostic mythology, you're like, this shit's Platonist as fuck. It's like, goddamn, this is really Platonist. It's like a significantly more Platonist version of Christianity. And there's a lot of nuance in there. You can draw distinctions between, like, oh, these are the Sethians, and over here, but then over here you have the Platonizing Sethians. Like, you can't just say that, oh, Gnosticism is like early Platonic Christianity. Like, that's not true. It's very, very... You're oversimplifying it if you say it like that. But to go back to the mythology, right? So you've got the Great Invisible Spirit, which then, from which arises the Barbello and Christ, which then make the 24 aeons. And the aeons they have names, like shit like logic and being, or like ideation or separation. Like, the aeons have these complicated names, which in Coptic, all of this shit is written in Coptic. That's how we know it exists, and how we know when it's from, is that it's all written in Coptic, which is it's basically the Egyptian language, but using the Greek characters, right? It's a Greek alphabet with a couple extra characters for the Egyptian language. And it's the language of a Christian group, which is how we know that the Gnostics were all Christians. So, and then these aeons, like this version of reality with the Great Invisible Spirit and the aeons and the Barbello and Christ, it's known as the pleroma, or the entirety. But then, generally speaking, you get one of the aeons, Sophia, wisdom. our girl, who never did anything wrong, decides that she wants to create something like the Great Invisible Spirit. She wants to engage in creation without the consent of the Great Invisible Spirit or her aeonic dyad, without her other half. And something goes wrong. The child is malformed and strange. Like, Sophia loses control over it. And this malicious child is known as Ialdabaoth, or Saklas. It is, in some versions of the mythology, it's evil. In some versions of the mythology, it's just an idiot. And Saklas literally means, like, fool. And specifically, she's made alone without a dyad for some reason. Well, in some versions of the text, she has a partner, but she just, like, does it. She just tries to create in secret, right? And then Ialdabaoth, like, okay. Then Sophia is ashamed of her creation in some way, and tries to hide it in a sort of glowing cloud from the rest of the Pleroma. And so Ialdabaoth grows up not knowing, like, thinking that he is the only god, and then is, like, does some creating himself and creates the world, right? And that's the universe. And then Ialdabaoth is actually the god of the Old Testament. And in his ignorance, using a dim memory of his time in the Pleroma, creates a world that is guarded by these sort of divine jailers or archdemons. And he's a jealous and vengeful god who wants to be worshipped by his creation while he tortures them. And so he demands worship alone. You know, the Shialdo on my Baoth until I archdemon. Yup. Hi, Lopolyfire. Welcome to chat. You wrote down evil god. Like the Minotaur on a big scale. Yeah, that's very much a good way to put it. And okay. So, and then by this point, doesn't that make Gnosticism extremely anti-Semitic? That is a surprisingly difficult question to answer. Like, this is still a period where, like, okay, you have the actual Christian authorities, like the bishops and whatnot, are like Paul. It's like, Paul has entered the chat. We're not Hebrews anymore. Like, we're definitely not Hebrews anymore. Like, the Hebrews are Pharisees. They're evil and super or they're not evil, but they're hyper traditionalist conservatives, unlike us, the enlightened and based Christians. But it's like, it's pretty clear that, like, even like 300 years after the death of Christ, a lot of the people actually on the ground, like, going to church, probably still kind of consider themselves Hebrews or Jewish in some way. Paul has entered the chat as always a portent for something awful. Yeah. It's like, Paul... Okay. Here's the best way I can put this. Is like, Paul is like, we are not Christians. And we are not Hebrews. We're not Jewish anymore. But you only need to say that if a lot of the people in your flock still think of themselves as Hebrews, right? So, a lot of the people, like, okay, remember that, like, Jesus himself, the actual historical Christ, was reacting to a very schismatic time within Judaism more broadly, right? It's like, there were already a lot of Jewish people at the time who were, following the destruction of their entire country, and the temple cult of Judea were pretty unhappy with the religious authorities of Judaism, and were already kind of trying to remix, like, well, now that we don't have a temple, what is Judaism now, right? And it's pretty clear, that, like, for the next 400 years after the death of Christ, a lot of church authorities were telling their flocks, like, stop identifying as Jewish.
Stop thinking of yourself as a Hebrew. We're some different shit now, right? So while the church authorities were very much like anti-Jewish, the people on the ground probably weren't necessarily sharing those sentiments, as it were. And I think there's a lot, you can see a little bit of that in a lot of Gnostic literature, of like people still trying to figure out what exactly Christ meant to the whole like biblical literature. Was the historical Christ a #based woke pro-socialist? 90% kidding. We don't know very much about the historical Christ. We can make inferences, can't really actually say much. Fuck you, we're hiding in a cave and making a new calendar. Exactly, yeah, no, it's like Judaism was also very diverse at this period, so it's hard to really call something anti-Semitic in the same way that we would call something anti-Semitic today. They were reacting to other currents within, like, Judeo-Christian literature. Hi, Laundry NT. Welcome to the chat. We're talking about historical anti-Semitism and exactly how Jewish fucking Gnostic literature was, which it was definitely Christian. Like, I think people hear, like, Gnosticism was anti-Semitic and think, like, oh, well, then it was, like, very Christian. It's like, it definitely was. It was at least Christian, and a lot of Christians were anti-Semitic, but that doesn't necessarily make a lot of it anti-Semitic in the way that we would understand that term. Although the Apocryphon of John starts with a very humorous thing where John is like he's just kind of wandering around, and then a Pharisee, the group of Judaism that became modern rabbinical Judaism, is like, you're fucking, hey John, you're fucking cringe, and your rabbi misled you, and he fucking died, and it turns out he's not the Messiah. And then John gets so mad that he wanders out into the desert and is like, I am not owned. Don't put it in the book that I got owned, okay? And then Christ shows up to him in a vision, is like, hello, John. I have a secret vision that is just for you. This is my secret teaching. I, Jesus Christ, am here to tell you that you did not get owned by that proto-rabbi. Hey, John, fuck you and your dead woke rabbi. I am that dead woke rabbi. Hold it. What if Yaldabaoth achieved Gnosis? Yaldabaoth can't achieve Gnosis. Come on now. He exists beyond the capacity to achieve knowledge, right? Gnosis within Gnostic literature is like something that only humans can do. It's like, actually, that's one of Irenaeus' criticisms of Gnosticism, is like, fucking, is like, if Sophia's an aspect of a perfect and unchanging true God, how can she make a mistake? Which is like, that's kind of a W for Irenaeus, right? Hang on, I have to do parkour. Is there a relationship between noesis and gnosis? Yes, but it's like so philosophically specific that I'm not entirely sure what it is. I know there is one. I don't really know how to describe it while I'm playing Warframe, but there is one. Hi, sorry, I don't want you to get repeating things, but what is Gnosis late to the stream? We haven't explained it yet, don't you worry. Wait, is Gnosis a state of being? It is both a process and a state of being. Usually when you see that, like, esis at the end of a classical Greek term, it means it is both a process and a state. It is like the state of achieving a process. Ugh. So you've got your evil god. You've got your you've got your world. So then, you know, you've got Adam and Eve, and at one point Sophia tricks Yaldabaoth into breathing a little bit of its divine spark into humanity, thus imbuing it with this dual nature as being both material and spiritual. And then Christ, that sometimes that spark is Christ, and then sometimes Christ shows up later to teach humanity about Gnosis. That begs the question, what is Gnosis? Well, the Gnostics, generally speaking, believed that the material reality was an inherently corrupt and evil place. It was the creation of a malicious demiurge that is here to torture you forever without ever doing anything good. And what you need to do is you need to cultivate your spirit through the study of secret divine knowledge so that you can free your spirit, your pneuma, from the material world and rejoin the Godhead up in the pleroma, right? We all clear on that? Extremely Neoplatonic an idea. Yup. Reminds me of samsara and nirvana. Yes, although, like, it very much in the same way that, like, the Gnostics did not see reincarnation as a good thing. They saw, like, oh, you suffer, you die, you get a new body, and it sucks, right? They're like, we don't want that to happen forever. Well, okay, you say suffering exists because of Big Evil Snake. That, in some of the Gnostic literature, the snake isn't the devil, it's actually Sophia, right? It's actually Sophia showing up and saying, eat this, it'll let you escape. And that's why in a lot of, like, modern magical imagery, you see a lot of snakes, is because that's the version of the snake that we're going for. Like, Crowley specifically kind of conflates the Sophia serpent with the Satan serpent, kind of says that they were, like, the same being. Because if Yaldabaoth, if God is evil, then the Satan that's trying to get you to fuck up God, devil's probably the good one here, right? The wisdom snake. Exactly. And snakes in a lot of Greco-Roman mythology were also associated with knowledge, so it's a pretty easy comparison to make. Sophia's actually so fun. The Hebrew specifically doesn't even talk about the devil in the garden. It's very specifically an animal snake. Exactly, yeah. Jesus was also compared to a snake shedding his skin. Yes, I believe the term that a lot of Gnostic literature uses for like Christ appearing to people is literally like the Greek term for clothing. Okay, but if Sophia's an emanation aspect, she can't be a perfect copy of the divine Barbello, and without the Dianatic partner, how is she going to make anything proper? It's like... Listen. If you like extremely theologically complex literature, you're going to like Gnosticism. You're going to like the Apocryphon of John and the three Stellies of Seth and whatnot. And if you like complex mythology, you're also going to like Gnosticism, because boy oh boy, this shit is fucking complicated. And so, Isfendel, your question does have an answer. Like, I'm sure if I knew more about, like, the Apocryphon of John, I could tell you why it's actually possible for her to do that. But the thing about Gnostic literature is that they love detail. They don't just say, and then there were 24 archons. No. They sit down and they say, there were 24 archons. Here's all of their names, what they were doing, and exactly what aspects they brought to reality, right? If you like granular fucking details, you should like Gnosticism. They really are the Buddhists of the West. Well, they're more like Buddhists consider reality just to be an illusion. Gnostics consider it to be evil. Like, every moment that you're spending in material reality is making you worse, right? In the sense of having overwhelming theology, yes, that's more true. Not in terms of the details. Thought there were 30 aeons? It depends on the fucking text, but the most common number is 24. Let's see. We've been live for an hour. Hey, I think it's about time for a break. Think maybe you should stretch your legs, get a drink, maybe grab a snack. Could be nice. You won't know until you try it. All right, we'll be back in a bit. And we're back. Is the demiurge neutral, generally gendered? The demiurge is, like, technically ungendered, but is almost always referred to as male. Hi CT, quick question. If they believe that reality was pain, what about sex? Sex is awful. The Gnostics were very against sex. What about that Archon that helps people escape? Uh, uh, Sophia's not an Archon. Sophia's an Aeon. No, not Sophia. Which one? Sabaoth? Oh, yes, the rebel one. The sun-faced guy? Well, no, the sun-faced guy is the demiurge. Gnostics were against sex. Well, that's a strike against their cult surviving for multiple generations. Yup. I mean, regular Christianity is generally... Ah, no, that's not true. Never mind. Wish regular Christianity was this convoluted. It made it a lot harder to market. I think that's part of why it never really survived. I don't need sex because the demiurge fucks me over every day. Fuck. You seen these gas prices recently? Was there a taboo against suicide in Gnosticism, considering that reality is a prison and existence is suffering? I don't know. I don't think they've ever mentioned it. They could have mentioned it. I don't really know what the Gnostic position on suicide is. Yeah, they believed in reincarnation. The Gnostics also have writing about how much they want to fuck the demiurge Sophia, how horny they are for God. Malkuth! Fucking... I forget which text keeps talking about fucking Malkuth. The Gnostics also have writing about how much they want to fuck the demiurge Sophia. No, not. It's like sexual desire was seen as like base and material. They did not like being. They're very ascetic. The Gnostics were exactly the opposite of like wanting to fuck anything. I'd consider my sexual desire pretty based. Let's correct some relics, why don't we? Post-Paul, being against sex is not uncommon in Christianity. Yeah, like, that was one of the first, like... Based on what?! Yeah, that was one of the first things that they got into, so... Alright, as we get back into it. I'm not seeing anything about Malkuth vis-a-vis Gnosticism. Listen, there's a lot of Gnostic texts. I tried to focus on the Sethians for this. So, okay, somebody earlier asked, like, what is the relevance of Cain and Abel to all of this, right? Well, okay, so Cain and Abel are, in a lot of Gnostic literature, considered to be the progeny of... not of Adam and Eve, but of Eve and Yaldabaoth, right? Like, there's an idea that, like, Eve was assaulted by the demiurge, and that's why Cain and Abel were evil, right? But Adam and Eve also had a third son named Seth, who was, like, not the progeny of the literal evil god, and is thus considered the true ancestor of humanity. And so in a lot of Gnostic texts, like, Seth is also referred to as, like obligately a god, right? Just straight up a divine figure on par with Christ. And so That's why a lot of Gnostic texts are referred to as Sethian, is because, like, the Gnostics never called themselves Gnostics. Like, that's part of where this thesis of, like, oh, they weren't real, like, Gnosticism wasn't a religion contrary to Christianity. It was, like, Christians trying to argue with each other. The closest thing that we have to the actual historical group of people who we could consider Gnostics, they called themselves, like, the progeny of Seth, or the followers of Seth, or the seed of Seth. And that's the closest we have to, like, an actual Gnostic group that probably existed. Until around the end of the 3rd century, somewhere in Rome, there's a very popular bishop named Valentinus. And he was a fucking problem for the early church because he was so popular, he was almost elected Bishop of Rome. That's how popular this guy was. And let's see if we get anything interesting. He was so popular that, like, we have a lot of literature going, like, saying, like, this Valentinus guy's a fucking heretic. And he was so popular that after he didn't make it for the Bishop of Rome, he kind of split off, and Irenaeus said that the Sethians using the Gospel of Judas worship Cain, but the actual text doesn't support that. Yeah. And so one of the other big thread of Gnosticism is Valentinian Gnosticism, who the Valentinus's big innovation was he said there were 3 types of people. There's physical people, there's psychical people, and there's spiritual people. And only spiritual people can actually achieve redemption. And the psychical people, which is what he means by, like, most, like, other Christians, is that they can achieve a sort of lesser redemption, a sort of false redemption. Sounds like a portent excuse for racism or caste system. Well, it's more an excuse for, like there's 3 types of people. There's the people who follow me, and then there's the people who follow my haters, and then there's the people who don't know about me. That's the Hylic psychics and pneumatics thing. Although you're not locked in, right? If you cultivate enough knowledge, you can go from Hylic to pneumatic, and then from psychic to pneumatic. I forget which one is which. My classical Greek roots aren't that good. But one can see the problems with the system, as it were. Cultivation mentioned, yes! The other thing is, like, if you want to actually if you want to actually get started with any of this shit, I would say start with the Apocryphon of John. That's, like, the easiest... that's really the easiest one to get, like, wrap your brain around. Oh, wait. Gnostic and Wuxia go reasonably hard. We just don't know about it yet. We just don't know. I could totally see it. I mean, isn't that what a lot of, like, Kill 6 Billion Demons is? Just, like, Wuxia tropes, Eastern mysticism, a little bit of Gnosticism. The Thomasines were also good because they didn't really do much. There's a lot of, like, little sects. Like, okay, you got the Sethians, and you got the Valentinians, who were themselves, like, Sethians. But then Valentinus eventually, like, his followers split into East and West. Like, that's where you get the Marcosians, or Marconians, who were notable because they rejected the Old Testament entirely. They were like, no, we don't need any of that shit. It's just the New Testament. I was like, well, how the fuck do you do that? A lot of the New Testament is, like, directly built off of the old shit. You can't just say all the old shit is bad. Like, what's up? got back from one of the main exposers of Hobby Lobby papyri scandal. They exclusively referred to Dirk Obink as the individual.
Another job well executed.
Daniel Boyarin's Borderlines. The partition of Judeo-Christianity is also a good start for understanding how Christians understood themselves as a movement. Yup. Come on, I want to unlock Dante's 4. I've heard it's really good. Is this the new big stream today? This is the biggest stream. This is the only stream. I'm making a team of haters. We call ourselves Copia, Seath, and Maldabalf. Didn't Ellie just post some shit like that on Tumblr? Fine. Take your pin and go, buddy. Yeah, Ellie just left a reblog on one of my posts that said something similar, but I'm not taking away your pin. You got your pin, you earned it. Kill 6 billion demons is what if you put Taoism in your physical way melee range of the Demiurge. It's great. Yeah, I liked it. I'm not super caught up, but I should be.
You must find, capture, and extract our target. Watch out. I'm detecting white fissures nearby.
But part of the reason that, like, I want to talk about Gnosticism, I mean, it's important for Western esotericism and the book I'm writing. Partially because, like, the Gnostic mythology about, like, God being evil is one of the major, like, engines of specifically the last, like, 200 years of esoteric mythology, in that it allows, like, that's a lot of Thelema, is Crowley recasting Judeo-Christian and, to a lesser extent, Islamic mythology as, like, as something new, right? And Gnosticism and Gnostic mythology are one of the major pieces of material that he uses to build things out of. And so, if you want to study Western esotericism, you don't necessarily have to be familiar with, like, all of the specific historical information about Gnosticism. Like, you don't really need to know about all the different sects and whatever, but you do need to know that there's Aeons and Archons and Yaldabaoth and Sophia. Those are all very, very important figures for the rest of Western esotericism. I think for the book, I'm probably going to present it as like, okay, here's the fucking story of the Garden of Eden, and here's the Gnostic version. Like, just explaining who these mythological figures are so that you can recognize and understand who they are when you see them in other texts. Why was Gnosticism such an effective group of ideas to reconfigure in that way, do you think? It's very specific and very granular. They give you a lot of toys to play with, and they give your toys a lot of abilities, right? It's like, instead of 1 or 2 action figures, it's like 400, and they all have specific powers, and you can kind of reorganize them in the way that you want. Have any Western esotericists tried to do anything with the different Romanizations of the Tao versus Tao, I wonder? I know Crowley did a bunch of shit with Taoism, but I'm specifically trying not to get too deep in the weeds on Eastern mysticism for now, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm not the motherfucker to ask. It feels, looking at all the groups dubbed Gnostic throughout the ages, that it's a philosophy that keeps re-emerging. I would actually push back on that a little bit. Like, whenever you bring up the fucking Gnostic and, like, Gnostic-derived groups, people always bring up the fucking Cathars, right? But everyone wants to be like, oh, the Cathars are a Gnostic group. It's like, not really, okay? Because Gnosticism basically dies out, like, pretty quickly after the 8th century, although shades of their ideology, shades of their mythology survive in... Oh, Necros Prime, yes, okay. Shades of their mythology and ideology survive in... Yes, Joey Jojo in chat said it, the Mandians. So you see these splinter groups that have a little bit of Gnostic flavoring to them, but not too much. And my opinion is the Cathars are way more inspired by these groups that actually existed than this, like, fairly short-lived set of mythological ideas that died off pretty quick and were heavily suppressed by the church, right? Like, just because you have a little bit of dualist cosmology, just because you have like a good god and an evil god, that doesn't fucking make you Gnostic, right? That's part of the problem. And I think that's part of the current wave of academic pushback against the idea of Gnosticism as a religion. Because it's like, people see, oh, this is a Christian, it's got Jesus and a good god and an evil god, it's Gnostic. No. If there's no you gotta at least have a Barbello, right? You gotta have at least a Barbello, then we can consider you Gnostic, right? I think the idea that the traditional god is not just something evil, but also something you can personally fight back against with the right knowledge is pretty intoxicating. Well, actually, you don't really fight the demiurge. Like, you kind of escape the demiurge. I think the sort of, to use a mildly derisive term, the Tumblr Gnosticism is very much about, like, oh, we're gonna fight and kill God. No, you don't fucking fight the demiurge. You run away from that shit. He's a god. You can't kill him. You're just trying to get out of his damn house. It's a divine jailbreak with secret knowledge. You're not, like, taking up a sword and killing God.
Keep fighting. Look for more reactant. Target
You don't really fight the demiurge. I'm different. Yeah, nice Tumblr-ass response. You're gonna get a million notes with that one, buddy.
safe on this. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Someone should make a Gnostic heist movie. Yes, that's true.
Captive back at base.
It's also like that fake post about witches trying to kill Allah. That shit was funny. That was definitely a fake post to make fun of people who weren't really causing any trouble, but that shit was funny.
It's your mission to find out what's inside.
JRPG brain? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, it was just being funny. I'm giving you a hard time. I'm not mad at you or anything. To be fair, we were just talking about Tumblr Gnosticism. I've been on a personal, private, like, oh, nice job, should we invite a biblically accurate angel type kick, which is objectively like a mean hater stance to have, but it's a little true. Ooh, hello, Tigress. I'll take you. Playing Hello Neighbor with the Demiurge? What a weird pull. Is it known how the afterlife functions in Gnosticism? That's actually a pretty good question. Like, this is the fucking era of Christianity where, like, they hadn't really settled on what heaven was yet, so it's just oneness with the pleroma, whatever that means. They don't really go too deeply into that. When we die, our spirits become components of an artificial counter-god which will fight and kill Yaldabaoth Eldar style. Maybe. That is one of the... It's like, why doesn't the pleroma just fucking kill Yaldabaoth? Like, what's the fucking problem? The afterlife is the stomachy of the serpent Leviathan surrounding the world. Just puts you back into life. I missed half the stream because I was making the most delicious-ass stir-fry. Yup. Good-ass reason to miss my streams, honestly. The pleroma is Irenic. Conflict and war are a creation of Yaldabaoth. Yeah, that's true. No, there aren't any evil women. Religion seems to have a thing for evil women. I mean, not in Gnosticism. There aren't really evil women in Gnosticism. One Christ versus... 100 Christ versus one Yaldabaoth. Yeah, Sophia's not an evil woman. We love Sophia. I gave 100 Christs each a piece of the Numina. And they're gonna fight one Yaldabaoth. Yeah, that's true. in like one of the Gnostic texts that we have is the Gospel of Mary, who's like,
Intel that somebody
Christ appeared to me and he told me a bunch of secret teachings, and she tells it to the rest of the apostles and they laugh at her, right? They're like, you stupid woman, we're not doing your religion, and then she starts to cry because they bullied her, which I think objectively makes her more correct than them, because I think being mean to women is bad.
a fissure. Defend yourself and use reactant to
We talk about the Jeuians at all? I read the Stele of Jeu, and I didn't really clock a lot of it. Please don't let me show too much of my ass here. I tried my best. I only had a limited amount of time to read the entirety of the Gnostic corpus.
stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
I go by they, them.
Target has vital
Don't you worry.
information.
I always prefer that people ask.
We need our subject brought back alive.
Can you tell us the secret knowledge, pretty please?
Located.
Actually, you can... There's a couple bits in, like, the Apocryphon of John that just have, like, straight-up spells and hymns to Sophia and shit. It's like, do that, right? It's like
Success. The captive is safe.
a lot of, like, what the actual process of cultivating Gnosis is kind of just, like, the understanding that cultivating Gnosis itself is an escape from the Demiurge, and understanding the Demiurgic mythology is, like, part of it. Like, if you do that, that's the first step. Spell mention, time to cast. Yeah, like, a lot of we actually have a couple translations of the Apocryphon of John, and one of them is, like, straight up a magical text. Like, it has voces magicae and, like spiritual hymns and shit. Like, it just straight up has spells you can cast. Gnostic theurgy. Depends how you mean theurgy, I guess. I don't really have a good answer for you if whether or not they engaged in theurgy. May, do you think that the Gnostics engaged in theurgy? One of my cats is here to watch. Aww. You don't actually have to think about and solve, like, theistic problems to get Gnosis in this context, right? You just have to pray and be dope and cool. You do need to contemplate. Like, there's a little, like, prayer is important. Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, there you go. I trust May's take here. I didn't know if they, like... I mean, they had, like, secret marriage rituals to become vessels of Sophia. Yes, that was, like, one of the big important steps in cultivating your knowledge was entering the bridal chamber, which was clearly some sort of mystical metaphor for something. Becoming a bride of wisdom, which is cool as fuck, honestly. I love marriage imagery in any occult shit. Chat streamer, what do I spend 18 free platinum on? I don't know. I have like 2,500 platinum. I don't really know what the fuck I'm gonna do with it. Did the Gnostics practice theophagy? Actually, that's a great question, Wolf. There's a... I forget which text it in. Maybe May remembers. But there's a text in which Christ admonishes his followers for taking the Eucharist. Where they're like... It's like Christ appears to them as a vision. He's like, stop eating my body, you weirdos.
Somebody vital to enemy operations is here. Find them and capture them.
So we know at least some of the people called Gnostics were very against the concept of theophagy.
A fissure. Defend yourself and use reactant to open relics. They're dropping reactant. Use it to crack open a relic.
Youch! Guys, stop! Stop eating me, stop!
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Can you imagine being Jesus and coming back to Earth as a vision and seeing them being like, and now we will all get together and pretend to eat him. Like, what are you doing? Stop that!
Well done, Tenno. Your relic is open.
Don't remember which one that is. I know the Gospel of Judas does make a big deal about Judas making... Yes! Yeah, fucking... The Gospel of Judas is crazy, because it's like... Okay, the big... I mean, huge big thing in Christianity was the sacrifice, right? It was like the fact that he got betrayed by his apostles and shit, or by humanity in general through Judas, which, if you think about it, kind of makes Judas the most important guy in the, like, kind of makes him the most important apostle, doesn't it? And it's one of those things where it's like, that's a good point. I see why the church did not want people reading this one. Arcana 12, what does BL stand for? I only know that as a yaoi thing. Oh, okay. You were saying the yaoi thing. I thought there was like an esoteric thing, but we were just having a yaoi moment. That's fine. This sort of thing happens. I'm at peace with it. Beelzebub. My first time getting into Gnosticism was my teacher getting bored teaching the New Testament, had us all read Judas instead. That's fun. It is. It is a biblically relevant yaoi moment. John the Baptist was Fujoing out. That's true, actually. Let's all go to the nearest priest and say that John the Baptist was Fujoing out. Sits on the chair backwards. Let's talk about John the Baptist being a Fujo. The look on their face will be priceless. Asking the priest who was the uke and who was the seme. Hi, Nova Rady. Welcome to chat.
You are here on a capture mission. You must find, capture, and extract our
I love capture missions. They make grinding for relics so easy.
use these to crack. You are near a fissure. The enemies are dropping reactant. The reactant is working on your relic. Find more.
But you guys can see why a lot of this was, like, pretty interesting to a 20th century esotericist. Because, like, remember, we, like, the rest of the world only learned about this shit in, like, 1945 when these texts were rediscovered. This is, like, a post-Thelema world. And then we learn about all this shit firsthand. Like, this was very recent in terms of esoteric history. It kind of recast a lot of things. It gave esotericists a lot of fun new toys to play with, which we have not even begun to explore. Whoa. So cringe to admit, but as a Korean-Japanese teenager, my first foray into Gnosticism was beating the Demiurge in Strange Journey and immediately going, wait, what was that one guy's deal? And borrowing a bunch of books. And, like, honestly, whatever gets you into it, you know? Like, I think people are fascinated by people are fascinated by Gnostics for a good reason. They're fucking cool. Like, I think a lot of people just kind of hear about Gnosticism from Shin Megami Tensei, and then they just kind of stop there. Because there's some real meat to this one, right? Is one of the meatiest elements in all of Western theology. Christianity, but with 200% more secret knowledge and extra god bits. It was like catnip to annoying 20th century occultism. It was like catnip to, like, the best parts of 20th century occultism. This shit was revolutionary. I think a lot of theistic Satanists are kind of heirs to Gnosticism in some way. No, not at all. It's like, I think it was completely, like, the cultural milieus of Gnosticism and theistic Satanism are completely different. Like, Satanism is, like, explicitly a countercultural theological movement, and Gnosticism was like, no, we're the real theological movement. Yeah, there's a lot of different types of Satanists. I'm trying to remember, were you the one who got the DM asking why the church isn't telling us? Yes, that was me. I have all these. Therion? Nah, never heard of him. You were born knowing nothing? Like, absolutely nothing? That's cringe, bro. The entire thing about the demiurge in the material world coming about because Sophia tried to emanate without her masculine partner is intended to read as all the evil in the universe came about because she was jorking it. No, she wasn't jorking it. Like, she was trying to create something like a demiurge would. Like, as far as I recall, there wasn't a sexual element to Sophia's creation of the world. People who gatekeep finding out about stuff make me want to start boiling humans. Well, part of it is like they're not just hiding it. It's like you literally cannot learn it unless you have special initiatory knowledge. Yeah, jork it, like the Pleroma can't jork it. Like, jorking it is purely a material thing. Only those imprisoned by the demiurge can jork it. No, I also don't think we're intended to read Sophia's creation of the world as like an evil woman thing. Like, I think it's very easy to read the text that way, and I think that reading of the text was not unintentional. But I also don't, like, the texts clearly have affection for and moral allegiance with Sophia. Like, it's framed as like something she shouldn't have done, but it's clearly framed as like the result of ambition rather than ignorance. Like, ambition and love. Like, a lot of the texts frame it as like her wanting to create like her father did. Like, her wanting to be like her dad, which is like an act of admiration for her father and for the demiurge itself. And for the godhead. Not the demiurge. It's like, Gnosticism does not admonish Sophia for the creation of Yaldabaoth. They clearly see her as like a divine figure that did her best. Yeah, she's surprisingly nuanced. That's one of the most interesting things about the mythology. Girl boss Lucifer. She's not Lucifer. Stop trying to fit her into these archetypes. Like, she's not supposed to be a Lucifer figure. She's supposed to be Sophia. Like, she's clearly more evocative of, like, the Timaeus than Lucifer. Also, like, the Lucifer mythology wasn't really a part of Christianity at the time. Feels more like, oh, aren't women stupid, similar to... I think you could agree that. I think you could argue that. I don't necessarily agree. When the Tumblr user is more misogynistic than a bunch of Alexandrian Jews 1900 years ago. Well, I don't necessarily... I'm pushing back against this because I think it's important to understand that things were seen, like, through different historical lenses. But also, like, that's not a... I'm pushing back against it because that's not an unobvious way to approach these texts, right? Like, if your first instinct is to be like, people hated Sophia because of misogyny, that's a good guess. I don't think it's the historical reality of these texts, but it's a good guess. Like, I'm not saying you're dumb for, like, seeing her as Lucifer. I'm saying you shouldn't do that, though. I'm saying it's more complicated, right? I'm glad that you guys are making connections and thinking about it and, like, trying to process these ancient mythological figures with the frameworks that you understand, but in that process, you're going to say things that I don't agree with, and I'm going to yell at you for, and that's fine. Don't take it personally. What's up with that Gnostic symbol that's like a dude with the head of a chicken and snakes for legs? Oh, that's Abraxas, right? What the fuck is up with him? It's like... Yeah, that's Abraxas. That's like one of the many versions of Yaldabaoth. I don't really know the specifics. That's not one of the ones that I've brushed up on for the stream. I'm not trying to show my ass here. was primarily a joke. Sophia's deeply cool. You guys gotta understand that, like, even when you say jokes, I'm gonna use that to riff. Don't take it personally. We're all having fun here. Don't you worry. I'm not actually mad. You're not in trouble. Sophia or Sophia? It was written in ancient Greek. You can spell it both ways. It's fine. One of the Gnostic sects has 365 generations of aeons, and Abraxas adds up to 365. Ah, yes, I remember that. Ironic posting is still posting. True, but also, like, we're here for discourse. We're here for good, rigorous theological discourse, not, like, I don't know, bad LGBT discourse. Don't do that in my chat. I'll be mad. This is my intro to Gnosticism. Well, I hope it... Well, Irelier, I hope it, like, encourages you to, like, read more about it. I know I said last week that I would post the introductory text that I have, and I didn't do that because I was busy. But I will actually do that after stream. Gnosticism as a religious movement might not have existed, but Gnosticism as a cultural concept and fixture of thought throughout emerging in and out of culture definitely exists. Most of the neo-Gnostics, quote-unquote, are more reacting to this cultural object than any other Christian sect. That is true. Completely agreed. Co-signed. Were the Gnostics happy for men to raw dog if it meant that there was less baby making? No. It was more like the pleasure itself. Like material pleasure was an illusion that was keeping you trapped in the material world, right? So, even yaoi sex was bad. I'm sorry. Although straight sex was doubly bad because you're allowing more people to reincarnate, right? Plus, sometimes semen has light particles. Do not separate. Gnostics are kind of like proto-antinatalists. A little bit, yeah. They saw being alive and existing in the world as like a bad thing that was the source of suffering. If the Earth was depopulated, would Yaldabaoth just give up or what? I don't know. Like, people wouldn't suffer anymore, and I think that's what the Gnostics were trying to go for. I don't think they really cared about Yaldabaoth's feelings on things. Were the Gnostics explicitly antinatalist? Not really. They were just very ascetic. Ah, yes, the trimorphic protonoia. That's another one of the texts that I wasn't able to brush up on for stream. Would you be able to have Yuri sex if you were unhappy with each other afterwards? I mean, the Gnostics would say don't do that. Like, suffering is bad. Like, generally try not to suffer. Like, the Gnostic... You guys have to remember what asceticism is. Like, it's like... Just live in a cave and cultivate gnosis is what they wanted you to do. Like, don't do anything. Just sit in one place and then think about cultivating gnosis. Well, no, material pleasure isn't an illusion, actually. Material pleasure is the influence of the archons. It's the influence of the celestial jailers keeping you, like, in here. It's not just an illusion, it's actively the shackles keeping you bound to material reality.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching. Another job well executed.
Okay, boss, finish cultivating. Can I come out of the cave now, please? Get back in your cave! Oh, so the pictures of Gabriel Ultrakill with a huge ass are tools of the Demiurge. Yes. Confirmed. So pleasure and suffering aren't opposite sides in a war. They're means and consequence. Kinda, yeah. Yes, the Archons invented grilled cheese to keep us unwoke, and it worked. Yeah, every time you eat a delicious sandwich, yeah, that's the Archons winning. Which, like, when you kind of zoom out, like, the whole, like, why does God allow suffering? Maybe it was an evil God, and that's the Demiurge. Like, that's the part where most people are like, oh wow, I kind of see where they're coming from. But then you zoom out a little bit and you get that meme of like a beautiful picturesque mountainside and like drinking a beer by a lake at sunset, and it's like, how could the demiurge make such an evil prison for us? And it's like, all right, buddy, it's like, all pleasure is actually keeping you bound to your material form. It's like, I don't know, it's nice to sit by a lake and drink a beer every once in a while. So is suicide a good thing, a potential way to get rid of material stuff? Well, no, it's just like suicide without cultivation of gnosis just reincarnates you, right? It's not that it's a bad thing, it just doesn't do anything. You're just not actually making any deliberate change. Do you ever do much with Manichaeanism? Well, we might talk about Manichaeanism.
Stay focused.
It's not something I want to talk about for the book,
The enemies are
but
dropping
I
reactant.
could be worth brushing up on.
Fighting.
Not against it.
For more reactant. The capture target has vital information that we will need to extract. We need our subject brought back alive.
I preferred the fun, cool Hermetic Demiurge. This is why I'm kind of kicking myself for talking about Hermeticism first before Gnosticism, because, like, imagine... This is how I'm going to present it in the book, but imagine talking about, like, the Gnostic mythology and all this other stuff and Neoplatonism, and then hitting the reader with the Hermeticism, like...
Quickly before they escape.
You know, you can pull the hat trick of, like, okay, you know the story of the Garden of Eden, but what if... And then you hit him with the Gnosticism... Like, you hit him with the Barbello and Yaldabaoth and shit. And then you hit him with the, but what if the Demiurge was nice? What if we listen to Hermes Trismegistus, huh?
Excellent.
That's the way I'm going to present this in the book, because that's got some fucking Agatha Christie-ass double twist to it. Even though it's, like,
Open.
definitely not how the history presented that. It's the way I want to present it for the book, because it's, like, a really good way for people to absorb the text. And also it, like, low-key presents the idea that the Hermetics were right, like, had the most morally correct version of this, which, like, is not true, but it's what I agree with. What if he was a puppy? Yeah, this entire book project was actually low-key just me doing Hermetic propaganda. You got me! What if the world was made of pudding? Your Honor, what if the Demiurge was just a little guy? Oh wait, it was Argon. I want that. Hermetic YouTube channel uploading the Demiurge is nice, actually, with a clickbaity thumbnail. I got Wisp. Yeah, I got Wisp Prime. I don't need that. The Demiurge made my ice cream bar so awesome, and I'm loving it from him. Yay! Yay!
Another job well executed.
Sorry for posting again. If pleasure isn't the goal and suffering is bad, what does neutral get them? It's not that neutral, like, okay, neutral isn't the fucking point. Like, the point is asceticism and the cultivation of gnosis, right? That's what the Gnostics want you to do. Warframe is the perfect game for this? Maybe. Wait, if the Demiurge made bad things, but also made good things, why is he bad? Well, because the good things are a trick. The good things are the cheese in the trap, as it were. All things are bad. The grilled cheese in the trap, if you would. Exactly, Giraffe. It feels so abstract in my mind to want to get a lifestyle rather than a feeling. Well, that's what a lot of, like, quote unquote religion boils down to is like not just like having ideas, but like how does this affect your actual real life? Like what should you do after you eat breakfast every day? Like that's when you have a proper like a praxis for your religion. You can't just be thinking about stuff. You gotta like do stuff. Okay, so if I do this and I do like then theoretically, if I find a meaningless animal, what did that do? I don't know. All right, we'll figure something out. I don't know. It's low-key kind of cozy in the trap. That's kind of my feeling. I was like, I like eating. I like material pleasures. That's kind of why I don't vibe with a lot of Buddhism. I was just like, but I like eating food. I like alcohol and dancing and parties.
You need more to open that relic.
That's also kind of what a lot of like contemporary occult philosophy. That's the conclusion they draw from a lot of this is that like
That's it.
if you recall the tarot card for temperance, right?
Take a look inside.
It's the parallel for the devil, right? The devil is the oh dear. Oh shit. My movement has glitched. Oh dear. I'm being pulled to the left. Oh well. Well, regardless, it's like a lot of modern occultism is like, you know, the devil is the part of life that is pleasure and enjoyment and all the things that make you happy, like drinking and singing and dancing. Whereas, but you can't just spend your entire life drinking and singing and dancing as much as you'd like to. You actually do need to lock in every once in a while. And that's what God is. That's what temperance is like the part of you that's like, all right, let's be a little serious for a second, right? Let's it's the part of you that's like, all right, let's comfort the sick and the dying. Let's take a second to be serious and kind and like work together to build a better life for the future. It's like that's the impulse of God, but also it's like not really worth doing much unless you can occasionally let loose every once in a while. Fact checked by real Thelemites. Oh my god, this glitch is so annoying, dog. I was looking at free games on Steam and saw this one. Is it worth getting into? I would recommend it. It is the game of the patient gamer. It's a schmovement heavy third-person shooter. And it's an MMO. It's a peer-to-peer MMO. A lot of stuff to explore, great community. But it is the game of the patient gamer. Things take time, and that's okay. That's why I like it. Warframe is an excellent game for just kind of like, if I have a podcast or an audiobook I want to listen to, it's a really good thing to do with my hands when I get tired of doodling. I understand nothing of what's going on the stream. Yeah, it's kind of particle effects the video game, and I have all that shit turned up. Oh, you get iframes from that. That's cool.
from their stronghold.
Hi, Gianni.
They will never see this fish coming. If you wish, you may return to the
Cleaving Whirlwind mentioned, yes!
You have more fight in you than that.
Give me my movement speed back, please. Hystrix. I'll take the Hystrix. Siphon valuables. Wait, who voices the fish? Neil Newborn, yeah. Fish is Asterion in Baldur's Gate, yes. Okay, thank God that fixed the fucking glitch, but I need to get out of here. I was worried the glitch would keep going. I didn't equip a relic. Okay, I think I see that the build for Dante is just cranking up ability damage and range. Twink is allowed. I love CT's character voices. It's like Twitch Commedia dell'arte. I like doing voices.
Mission complete.
Twink is allowed. James, stop it. People approve of Twink around here. Otherwise, you'd be banned. What shall we do next, chat? What is Yaldabaoth on the Twink Bear Hunk scale? I mean, he's a snake with a big lion head. Twunk. Yes, Twunk. Snake have no hair. He's not an otter. Alright? Think about what you say before you say it. You believe these schmucks. Lions have hair, though. Yes, but otters have hair on their whole bodies. Snakes don't have hair on their bodies. You can't just have... If you see a guy with a beard and then no body hair, that's not a fucking otter. Think about what you say before you say it. The demiurge is not a fucking otter. Scales are a kind of hair. They are not. You're just saying that. False. It was fact-checked by a group of patriots, and they determined you cringe. I'm a hairy guy, so I guess I'll die on this hill. As long as you're hairy and skinny, you can be an otter. That's fine. Scales are modified feathers. That's not true. Both scales and feathers are modified quills. A lot of people say the dinosaurs had feathers. They actually didn't have feathers. They had a weird, like, ancestor of feathers that was kind of quills. There are mammals with actual scales that are actually literally a kind of hair. Okay, are you saying that it's hair, or is it just like, keratinous, right? Is the lion-headed snake demiurge an attempt at demonizing the cult of Glycon? I've seen people say that, and I don't know. It's very hard to say either way. Like, if it is, what beef did they have with the cult of Glycon? Like, why would they want to demonize the cult of Glycon? The furtive pangolin, so easily forgotten. Oh wait, no. That cutscene has an old lady voice, so it's the furtive pangolin, so easily forgotten. Who the fuck is Glycon? Glycon! You know! The snake god? You know him. You know Glycon. Whatever. Let's just go to fucking Eris. Glycolipids? I don't know what that is. Oh, like glycogen. Yeah, like the biological sugar. I see. Let's all leave out a dish of sugar water for Glycon.
You must defend our equipment until
Like a sickly winter bee. We can nurse it back to health. Glycopuppies. James, I'm imagining you hearing me say sickly winter bee and going, oh, I gotta reference that in chat! That's a James bait comment if there ever was one. I fucking got your ass. You've got to play Tempo Royale? What is that? Actually, whatever. Put it in the Discord. By the way, if you're still in here, there is a Discord. You can use command ! Discord to check it out. I can hang out and talk about esoterica and shit. I post reading every week when I feel like it. Did We have been joined by El Jefe 69. Oh, okay, I'm seeing it. His abilities don't take that much energy. Are you happy with how it's turning out after resurrecting it? Resurrecting what? What happened? Is there anything written you'd like to see typed out on a typewriter? You know, I've never thought of that before. I don't know, if I say something funny, just put it on a typewriter. Oh yeah, but as for like a game that you want me to play, just like talk about it in the Discord or something. I'll make a stream suggestions channel.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting?
I like Caves of Cud. I played it like a little bit, and then I was like, it's very like involved. It's kind of my experience of playing Noida, where I'm like, this game is good, but I don't necessarily, like, it requires my full attention to play that shit. It's part of why I like Warframe, is that I can play it with only half my brain on, in a lot of circumstances. Noida's a fascinating game. I wish I was like... Noida's like the ideal game to have if you're like locked in a prison cell. Oh, the Resurrection Comet, yes. Coming in and people are acting... Yes, you were all... I will say I was very nervous about, like, restarting the Discord because of how people have behaved in my Discords in the past, but, like, I've been happy with the moderation and how people are behaving. Like, no one's caused fucking problems or, like, done any weird cringe shit that I've had to address. I thank you all for continuing to behave yourselves, and I hope you will continue to behave yourselves in the future. How far did you get into Cud?
I have no idea.
This is one of the most chill Discords I've been in so far. Yeah, I think, like, the last couple times that I've had a Discord, I haven't had the same audience that I've had. Like, my previous Discords were very much more for, like, the people that were into me for the fucking, like, Tumblr character art blog era. It was a very different vibe, but now I have, like, fucking graduate students and shit, because I'm like, I don't want to run a character blog, I want to actually, like, talk about the shit I'm passionate about. And now I have a lot of, like, very relaxed people that aren't, like, trying to become Tumblr famous by endlessly making jokes at me. Not that I don't like it when you guys riff, but it's like, oh... Like, a lot of the kind of Sansverse era of Tumblr was very, like... Remember when Mabimbam was really popular, and every time they'd bring up a guest on stage, it was like, "Hi, I'm a fan, and I'm auditioning for the part of 4th McElroy." There was a lot of that energy, and it was a little discouraging. It was like that energy combined with people being like, "Can you cure cancer with your magic?" This wasn't a good vibe. And now it's like, "Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning, other members of the Discord. Hello." I like that a lot more. You guys are much better at riffing now. I appreciate it. Like, I know I roast you guys sometimes, but it's only because I appreciate how you're actually behaving now. Healthy parasocial relationship? Nah, it's just not parasocial anymore. That's part of it. It's like, I occasionally get some, like, very Tumblr comments on my blog, but that's just, like, par for the course. It used to be, like, every fucking day. Like... Yeah, it has kind of a library book club vibe, which is very much what I wanted to go for. Very, like, no stress. I don't want it to be, like... Like, I've definitely been in some streamer Discords that are very, like... pushy about behaving in it or whatever. It's like, nah, I just kind of want it to be a place where people can, like, talk about weird religious shit. Like, I joke a lot with the rest of Meat Planet that our audience is, like, like, literal babies and transgender graduate students. And I like that. I like that I can introduce a lot of kind of fandom-y teenagers to, like, actual esoterica, because... You know, it's like a joke for the first 2 messages, and then you're like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. Tell me more about that. I like that a lot. I think that's a really fun vibe. Yeah, toddlers and transgender shut-ins. That's... I've gotten Tumblr popular enough that I get a lot of comments that are like, wow, you're being real aggressive as though we're already friends. That happens so much on Tumblr. And then if you respond to that person as if, like, hey, you're being a fucking cunt right now. Like, suddenly you're the asshole for saying that. Like, I'm talking about it like I'm mouthing, and I am a little bit, but it's also, like, one of the funniest parts about Tumblr. Because it's like, I think the funniest part about that is like you'll look at their blog and it's like it's like this person has to be like 17, and you try to be a little compassionate, you know? It's like I don't want to be mean to this person if they're like a child. You look at their blog and they're like a 35-year-old man. You're like, you can't behave like that, sir. Please.
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle more of the enemy.
I think I hung around long enough to undergo the full CT follower life cycle. Just need to apply for grad school now. That's kind of real. It's like there's been a couple people who've been like following me since like the first 10K followers. And if you're still here since that era of my blog, like you are a real one. You have seen like so many different like elements of my life and personality. It's wild to think about, but it's like if you're still around now, you're like aware that shit's chill. Been tempted to go to grad school? Don't go to grad school. All of my friends that are in grad school don't want to be in grad school. Didn't realize I was normal horoscopes until very recently. That's funny. I've talked about this before, but it really is funny. Like, it's so easy to overestimate how important you are to other people's lives on the internet. Like, there's this idea of like internet micro-celebrity of like, oh, all of the, like, several dozen thousand people who follow me all know everything about me. And that's just not true. Like, there are people on my Patreon who, like, don't know a lot of shit about me. And that's fine. Wait, you're an occultist? Yeah, literally. Exactly. People are just like, I just follow you for the funny posts. That's fine. I'll take your damn money. I'll take your damn clout. That's how I fucking getcha, right? You show up for the shit posting and you're like, oh wait, this person's actually like writing fun micro essays about occult history. Maybe I'll give him some Patreon money. And then it works. Speaking of, I'm only able to do these streams because you guys support me on Patreon. I'm sure you can see the text crawl at the beginning and end of the stream. If you guys want to support me, you can throw me some money. I really appreciate it. Absolutely no pressure. On the plus side, you aren't in grad school right now, so you have that going for you. Yeah, true. Cast spell of funny enough to keep the bills paid? Yup, and I'm fucking thankful for it. I don't know. It's like, it's always validating to see like people who are like in grad school and shit for theology drop in on these streams and like learn shit. Like, I'd be completely unable to be internet famous. It's fucked up. I could be like an advisor to someone who is, though. Yeah, it's like, there's definitely been people who like get a little taste of internet fame and they like, it just kind of fucks them forever. Like, I've seen it happen a couple times where it's like, it just completely knocks the kneecaps out of your ability to understand yourself as like a person. Like, it just fucks your sense of self-esteem. And it's sad when that happens. The Patreon is very good. Really like going through the back of the Goetia. Or Goetia. Yeah, no, I like writing it. Like, high key, y'all. I was not expecting how good these streams would be for my productivity. Like, my ability, like, doing these streams, like, having a deadline of, like, I need to just be able to talk casually about this shit every Friday has been enormously helpful for my ability to study. And then having the experience of sitting down and, like, putting all of this into words in front of people is such a good way to organize my thoughts for when I actually need to talk about this shit. Like, this has been enormously helpful. And I hope you guys know that you've, like, especially when you guys ask me, like, fun questions and shit that I'm actually able to bounce off of and, like, clarify things. It's enormously helpful. Like, literally, the more questions that you guys are able to throw to me for these streams, the better my writing is on the Patreon. Being able to listen to this and engage with it while also doing something else has also helped my productivity. Symbiosis. Yup. Best gun? Which one's the best gun? Is Sophia a twink? No. I think she's a MILF. I think that counts. Czar. I don't have a... I should get a Kuvazar. I like the grenade launcher type weapons in this game. Wait, Zar's a black powder cannon? Like, literally? Or is it just like that? Ever use the Tonkor? Yeah, yeah. Like Kuvazar, Kuva Tonkor. We should do a fucking... We should do a fucking Lich Hunt for stream next week. That could be fun. I have a Lich weapon. I got a really good Lich name. I got Jigajib. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You got cock soft, butt vor. Those are great. Those are fucking great. I saw one on the internet. Somebody got nub. Mig egg. It was with two B's. It was nub. Yeah, it has like procedurally generated names. Buppet sack. That's good. That's good. Okay, what are we doing here? I need to finish off Dante. Okay, we can do that. Kills you with my Jig hammer. Yeah, the Sisters of Parvos names are less fun, but I do like the business positions. The fucking the new Nemesis faction, the not Predicites, whatever they're called, the Techrot ones have great names. They're like, their names are like like files that you've downloaded from LimeWire. It's great. Yeah, the Technosite coda. One of these days I'll figure out how the Technosite codas work. I have no idea how they work. Oh yeah, the fucking motorcycle hammer looks so cool. The coda are a lot simpler than the others. That's good. I did a fucking... My first Sister of Parvos was like... Okay, she had the rocket launcher, which has like really, really high stun, and the and the hound that stuns you, like the one that knocks you on your ass. So doing that fucking Sister of Parvos was an enormous pain in the ass. Like every time she spawned in, she would just stun lock me and kill me forever. It just never stopped. Which esoteric schema is best for justifying the existence of dragons? Templar cult shit. You need to read Templar cult shit and then say that random lost crusaders found dragons in the deserts of Asia Minor or whatever.
Our position has been compromised.
Sabbatic, we have a whole book about it. Okay, by dragons, they don't mean like the weird metaphorical shit in the Dragon Book of Essex. They mean like Tolkien dragons. I've had that problem before, May, where it's like people will ask me about some interesting thing from occultism, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's like a Chumbly text that deals with like, you know, it's tradecraft and the sabbatic current explored through like the lens of herbalism, and it does all these interesting things with like biblical mythology. And they're like, no, I meant like, how do I make a potion in real life that lets me double jump? And I was like, oh, okay, right, yeah. Some people think this shit is like real.
Targets ahead.
Does John Coltrane count as an occultist? Absolutely, in my opinion. I think completely. Like, what tradition? I think Coltrane invented his own tradition. Like, there's a lot of magical works throughout history that deal with, like, music as being inherently magical. I mean, that's, like, pretty common. That's, like, something that basically every culture on Earth evolves at some point, was, like, some sort of mythological, mystical, religious significance to music. And, like, a lot of occult theory deals with language as being the one thing that fundamentally unifies humanity and the divine, right? God spoke the universe into being. And mathematics is also an important underlying part of how the world works, as is, like, you know, ratios and sound and physics. And music just happens to unify a lot of those different concepts. So if you really did want to take the idea seriously of, like, language and mathematics as the unifying language of the universe, you're going to be looking at music theory. It's just kind of natural that you would look at music theory. It's just the thing that combines those two ideas. Getting ratioed on Twitter is divine. Yeah. You can do Dragon HRT if you work hard and believe yourself. I do have a little bit of fondness for the corner of YouTube that's like,
Unless you can handle more of the
potion to turn you into a dolphin, for real, actually works. Kind of Pythagorean. Yeah, a little bit. Is there a good book on his life, or heck, or just an overall biography? I don't know. I have some music pervert friends, and I've been meaning to ask them. So Coltrane could double jump / silly. Yay! Whee! Every now and then I see people get so mad at Gödel Escher Bach that it inspires me. I can totally see how Gödel Escher Bach would piss off a specific sort of person who thinks they're very smart. I loved Gödel Escher Bach. That was such a fun book. But I can totally see how it would piss off a very specific sort of person. Okay, we got our Dante. I think what we want to do next... because I have a Grendel Prime. I think I want to grab Grendel Prime and then eat him. I wanna dump him in the Helmuth. Grendel Ball? Grendel bounds. Wait, what's Grendel's subsume? Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna level him to 30. Naturally. Is nourish. That's kind of crazy, actually. That's kind of nuts. Grendel. I had another thing that I wanted to level. Where is it? You know what subsume I actually use all the fucking time is fucking perspicacity. Can I ask a non-occult question that's like presumably your area of expertise because you're also a writer besides being an occultist? Yeah, ask away. Whatever. How exactly did you learn to do automatic writing? Practice. Okay, so like, I'm a poet that does all movement shit. I can write a scene, but not a narrative. I have trouble imagining how I'd even fit a big narrative together. How do I learn to do that? It's like the least helpful advice, but it's literally just practice. Like, literally just like sit down and make shit. Because here's the thing, you obviously have like taste in your own work, right? Like the problem with practicing writing is that it involves making shit that's bad, right? Like, I think that's part of why automatic writing was so good for me, was that it let me, like, churn out shit faster. It's literally just, like, iteration, right? How long did it take? What was your progress like? I did it, I mean, that was basically something I started doing in high school. So, after, like, 4 years. Automatic writing is it started actually as a mystical technique, but now it's just like a good way to practice writing, where you basically just kind of like, you start writing and you just don't stop. Like, you just start typing, no backspaces, no stopping. If you can't think of what to write next, you just write your name a bunch. It's a really, really good way to get yourself into the flow of things when it comes to writing. And it's how there's a sort of, what do you call it? An anecdotal idea in learning to write in which it's like everyone has a million bad words in them. You have to get them out as fast as possible. That's like very true. It's like, I think what a lot of writers trip up on is they just like don't write enough. See, like, I can do that kind of flowy shit easily. I can write automatically for days, but I can't do, like, big structure with a sort of engineering-esque part of writing. It's just, like, it's really hard to describe. Just generally, like, Generally, the way that I construct narratives is, like, okay, you have an idea of the thing that you want to write, right? Like a story about some characters doing a thing. I usually have an idea of a scene in my head where it's like, at some point in this story, this cool thing will happen. Well, obviously, if you have a scene, that implies a scene that happens right before it, and a scene that happens right after it, right? And then those scenes imply their own scenes. And eventually you just kind of have to decide, like, you'll have an idea of, like, where the story starts, and where the story ends, right? Don't try to write things... Don't try to plot things in chronological order. Yeah, write short stories. Start small and build up from there. I'm not necessarily a good person to ask about this stuff because I'm kind of a mutant when it comes to writing. My work ethic is not typical of writers. That's really useful. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm actually the best person to ask about this, actually. And I'm incredibly wise, and everyone should listen to me. And everything I say is extremely useful. Whatever. Let's put Master Thief on him. Wow, you're so cool! The Wisdom Streamer. Is it Stephen King who just writes 8 pages a day every single day? That could be possible. Hi, Quick Goldie. Welcome to chat. We're talking about writing. We're gonna fucking grind Grendel. How are we gonna grind Grendel? We're gonna go do fucking... Stephen King also did a lot of cocaine. Yes. I also enjoyed myself some stimulants for a good long while there. It works until it doesn't. Just came across this on your Tumblr dashboard? Well, welcome. We're talking about writing. Earlier we were talking about Gnosticism. Do you write much poetry? I saw your Sistina post again. I used to write I used to write more poetry. I don't really anymore. It's been a while since I've written poetry. I'm like... Back to scrolling by. Bye! Thanks for dropping in. I don't know. I haven't really written poetry in a long time. I think my skill at poetry is passable. I have like a decent command of the form, but it's not my main thing. Is there any occult text, theoretical or literary, that you just cannot fuck with? Oh. See, there's a lot of, like, bad occult texts, right? Like, that's easy. There's a lot of, like, ancient alien shit that I can't stand. There's a lot of witchcraft stuff that I find twee and annoying, but it doesn't necessarily mean, like... like... Yeah, some people writing about witchcraft are lame, like Fork Found in Kitchen, right? It's like people. It's like when I complain about like genre fiction being kind of shitty and amateurish. Like, yeah, fucking sci-fi fantasy lit isn't going to be the best thing in the world. Like, don't expect it to be great. It's fine. Like, so that's. I don't think that's what you're asking. I think what you're asking is like, is there like an interesting and well-regarded and very historically valid occult tradition that I just don't fuck with, right? I think that's what you're asking about, right? And I think... the fucking... There's some, like, Satanist-derived occultism that is, like, completely legitimate and valid that I just don't fuck with, right? I just don't enjoy it philosophically. I don't really... It doesn't hook me in a way. A lot of it is, like, very much a reaction to, like, another form of occultism that I just don't enjoy. Said you avoided Eastern mysticism, but that's more just because it's not that I don't like it, it's just that I don't want to focus on it. I'm trying to focus on I'm trying to get a good solid grip on Western esotericism before I get weird with... I start trying to learn Eastern mysticism. Because that's, like, something that happens a lot in Western occultism, is, like, you get a guy who, like, kinda 60% has a grasp of Western esotericism, who then tries to mix in Eastern ideas that he kind of half understands. And you end up with something that's a little half-baked, in my opinion, but, like, not necessarily bad, just a little half-baked. Hi, Victor. Thank you for screaming over me. What are we talking about? Oh, we're just talking about Western esotericism in general. Like, I'm talking about how, like, I want to have a better grasp on Western ideas before I really try to go crazy and learn about Eastern religions. It's also just kind of a trope, you know? It's a trope that, like, you know, guy who's really into Kabbalah gets into Taoism and kind of half understands both things in a mildly embarrassing way. I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to be that guy. This angry little fash twink has to yell at you on alt history TeamSpeak. And where is this interest coming from? Well, it's like, it's interesting. Fucking Eastern religions are interesting. Taoism is fascinating. Like, especially in, like, the 1850s. Packet kick with it timeline. Like, especially in, like, the 1850s when people, like, just learned about Hinduism. Like, they just learned that it was a thing and got access to the Bhagavad Gita for the first time. Like, people went crazy with it. It's super interesting, and a lot of people, like, really, really wanted to get into it. Like, it's interesting. I see why people got interested in it. You kind of see that in the Miraculous Ladybug show and how they mix Western ideas with Chinese and Japanese folklore. It's like, I don't even necessarily think it's like a red flag marketplace, because it's like, I'm sure there's like Japanese and Chinese shows that engage with it in just as superficial and cartoony a way. Like, yeah, there's obviously like the veneer of Orientalism in there, but it's like, it's not harmful. It's a cartoon. It's not like it could be so much worse, you know? So, like, where did your interest in the topic come from? I wasn't raised religious. I think a lot of it, I just find religion very interesting. I think it's really fascinating, and especially, like, a lot of occult history. I find it understudied in a really interesting way. I especially being an American, where a lot of, like, very prevalent social dynamics in American culture are basically like weirdo Christian cults, or like stem out of that. And I feel like it's weird that a lot of people aren't aware of that or don't talk about it as much. I find that very interesting, is the fact that, like, the fact that you eat yogurt for breakfast is because of a cult. That's interesting to me. Or not a cult, but like a wizard, effectively. Like the guy who invented breakfast cereal, John Harvey Kellogg, was basically a wizard. And I think that's fascinating. I think that's something that deserves to be talked about a little more. And also the fact that, like, a lot of the people who are studying this stuff and talking about it publicly are just fucking cranks who are misleading people. That pisses me off. I feel like there's a lot of room for somebody who takes a genuine interest in a lot of this stuff, but isn't a crank, has, like, an actual legitimate interest in this. We do not speak of yogurt enemas. I'd like to. We're going in vaguely chronological order with this Philosophy Friday streams, and eventually we will get to the yogurt enemas. Shinto, we have to understand, is less than 200 years old. Maybe, I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny. People say whenever people say stuff like that, of like, this thing that we think of is actually just this other thing. Not saying that you're being like that, but, like, it's the type of extremely simple logical equivalence that could absolutely be true, but could just as easily be oversimplifying. Stop talking about Omniodo, you're distracting me! My followers are talking about Shintoism when they should be watching me fucking game. Got obsessed with the Shakers earlier. Yeah, I love, like, weirdo Protestant sects. That shit's fun. See that you're talking a kind of tourist outsider approach to this field of interest. Do you think broadening your knowledge, like in philosophy? Taking a kind of... I am not a tourist and outsider to this, my friend. You must be new here. I have officiated an occult wedding, my friend. I am by no means an outsider to this. Like, do not mistake my level-headed and academic approach to this for being an outsider. Yeah, you certainly did not hire a wizard turret. You're missing the point of my question. Am I? Broadening your knowledge, maybe in philosophy. Well, I mean, I do have an interest in philosophy. Like, I think you're new here. I think you're mistaking me as being a lot more of an outsider than I am to this. I am very well read philosophically. You came into the stream a bit late. We've been live for about 2 hours, but we spent the last 2 hours like in deep going over the philosophical and religious circumstances that led to Sethian Gnosticism. Like, I'm on the level, don't you worry. I did a whole stream about Plotinus. I fucking read the Enneads cover to cover. Yes, I'm categorically new. I'm asking if sharpening your knowledge in different sections of disciplines would help you on your studies. Yes, absolutely. Just in general, not just me. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I think the most valuable thing... That's, now you got me thinking of, like, what would actually be more valuable, like theology or philosophy? Like, if you had to pick one. Guess it's like a big depends, but probably philosophy. Don't think they're exclusive. Yeah, very true. Like, very, very true. But, like, if you had to pick, you know, that's kind of why you stun-locked me there for a second. And you also run into the question of, like, is Neoplatonism... is Neoplatonism not a religion or not philosophy? Because there's definitely an overlap. Yeah, it's always kind of a continuum. That's true. But, like, yeah, no, I don't mean to fucking, like, get on your ass or anything. Don't you worry. Theosophy dog? Where? It got out! My philosophy dog! I don't know. It's like, I think at a certain point... Okay, here's my take. Scholar Andrew, here's my take. I think at a certain point, you can only get into the occult so much without being forced to interact with philosophy. Like, it's gonna happen. You don't really have a choice. It really is just, like... to learn that actual human beings exist in Warframe? Well, kind of. I do like a good Mezzo Fisher. Let's do that. Influentional. Don't worry. Like, I've been dyslexic my entire life. I'm never gonna make fun of somebody for not being able to spell. Is Warframe in the super far future? Or is it a unique universe? That is a good fucking question.
Watch out. I'm detecting void fissures nearby. Do you have a matching relic?
Do you have Ortus muted, or do you have a better taste than that? I don't have Ortus muted. I just have the game audio turned down a lot.
Use that reactant.
I would never mute my boy.
Don't forget the reactant.
Ortus haters do not come at me. You don't understand taste.
Stay focused. There's a heavy
I-
unit approaching.
I think it takes place in a timeline. Like, the origin system is supposed to be our solar system, but it's like an alternate history.
Find out what's inside.
And yeah, it's like millions of years in the future or some shit. I mean, there isn't. And also, it's an alternate history. Like, more like thousands. Okay, yeah, whatever. That's what I meant.
You're still in the clear. No detection from enemy sensors.
Is there a Sophia to the Demiurge of Wally? Are you playing as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? No, this is Grendel. He eats people.
You have broken their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful mission. Find extraction.
An occult version of the dualism religion? Well, here's the fun thing about Mandianism. It kind of was an occult religion. What is Warframe even about? It's about restoring the local wetlands. Oh, you like that there's a fat Warframe, huh? Well, guess what? He's like one of the top 5 frames in the game. He's really, really, really fucking good. You're not actually playing the character on screen. Yeah, that's kind of spoilers actually, but yeah, technically the Warframe is like a psychic puppet that you're controlling. Thought that was the whole premise. Listen, Warframe is weird. Like, I could describe the Warframe lore to you, and it wouldn't really make sense unless you actually played it yourself. It's a bit of a capital M mystery in that way. The entire joke of Grendel is, in fact, eat the... Okay, question for the Warframe heads in chat. How the fuck do you get Digath? Do I have to go through the process of making a fucking dojo so I can get fucking Digath? Clan research. I'm in a clan, but it's not really active anymore.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marines
I don't want to
stationed
buy
in the
Digath.
no one
You
standing.
can join a clan. Holly has a clan. Maybe I'll bug Holly about that when she's back from fucking PAX East or whatever.
There are void fissures in the area.
Do I have
Use
perms in the
these to
clan?
crack open a relic. A fissure. Defend
I'm a
yourself
part of the
against
clan, but
reactant
like the
to
leadership
open
isn't active anymore.
reactant to open your relic. Be aware. Only corrupted enemies will drop it.
You're Sage rank in Holly's
We're going
clan?
to need more reactant.
Well, if anyone can invite me to Holly's clan, I would appreciate it because I want one Digath, please.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
You have to make okay. You have to make a Warframe named Yaldabaoth. What's his deal? Ooh, okay.
Well done, Tenno. Your relic is opened.
Okay. Here's my theory. Warframe doesn't have an engineer class. I think partially because that would be crazy overpowered for Warframe. Is like anything with. Oh wait.
Tame this creature so you may perform the synthesis I require. Tenno,
Hello, Samaris.
Further, use the synthesis device.
Use the synthesis device. I am very close to you and looking into your face. Hello. I need you to take pictures of animals for me.
Samaris is a pervert. It is known. Yeah, I mean like a TF2 engineer. I mean like, if I were doing a Yaldabaoth thing, it would be like big fucking like CC thing where you place a structure and then upgrade it, and then like when it's destroyed, it deals a bunch of damage or something. I do have a I have a fondness for room nuke frames like Lavos, so that's kind of what I imagine Yaldabaoth would be. Or a potential Yaldabaoth frame would be. Whee! Yeah, like kind of like a Protea and Corvex if they had a baby. Zaku Prime. I have Zaku Prime. I'm going for the Ak Bronco link. Ball frame. Casual on and off Warframe enjoyer, but I love room nuke frames. What's your favorite room nuke frame? Lavos.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
It's at least like a consistent grind as opposed to a very random one. Yeah, like that's one of the things I really like about Warframe is that it respects your fucking time. Like, the grinds in this game are not annoying. Like, they actually is like, okay, if you actually decide you want something, you can get it. It just might take a while. It's not like... Ugh.
The system continues to fall into chaos.
Unless you want 4 riders. What's 4 riders? Nidus used to be horrific.
There is a large platoon of
What was Nidus's grind like?
leave no one standing. Void fishers. You need them to open a relic.
Yeah, it also respects your wallet by not demanding money for it. Like you can get every item in Warframe without spending a cent on the game.
Reactant to open relics. Collect reactant to open your relic. Be aware. Only corrupted enemies will drop it. Keep fighting. Look for more reactant.
Ball.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Apart from some cosmetics. Yeah, but the cosmetics that you need to buy are like made by the community, and the money goes to the
Keep
people who
moving.
made them,
None of
which
the
is really cool.
scanners have detected you.
Warframe is like, it literally is the most proletarian MMO. The woke Marxism of Warframe's MMO structure. Equinox's farm sucks. It's fine. It's just like just has more parts than the average frame. It's just like kill a boss. The People's MMO.
The enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to
Varuna's
extraction.
farm? I got Varuna recently. I forget what she was. There's a lot of frames that you can get just by like killing a boss. And also, if that's annoying, you can just wait until they show up in the circuit. Like, I am not doing Ivara's actual farm. There's no way I'm actually going to do that. Shit's so annoying. Is Fendil MMO? Ivara's easy if you get good at spy missions. Yeah, but if someone else fucking queues with you and fucks it up. It only happens on the C rotations, and it also just takes forever. They've been good about having pity systems these days. Yeah.
Another job well executed.
I can clear Spy faster than I can beat Till Rigor. Yeah, fair. Did you get a chance to try that Fantasy Warframe game that Digital Extremes released in alpha form? No. I didn't know about that. Till Rigor is an ass. I like any villain who's like, I'm going to use your pervert body to do pervert things. Thank you, Cinemachine. I appreciate it. My tubes. My tube men. Like, every video game, it will eventually have one sultry pervert villain.
There is a sanctuary target here, Hunter. I sense it. Track it with the synthesis scanner. Don't let it escape.
Void fishers.
Yeah, there's a lot of early Warframe story beats that just, like, don't exist because they were, like, a summer event that was limited time. Like, all the shit with the factions, like, just isn't in the game anymore. It's like, who are the Steel Meridian? You don't get to know that. Holly had to tell me that.
Find more.
I'm sure they're on the wiki, right? I had to have a Warframe pervert friend tell me what was happening with Steel Meridian.
You have collected enough reactants to open your relic.
I am thankful for having, like, a Warframe pervert friend to get me into this. Literally, it was like Holly's fault that I'm into this game now. I literally, like, watched this shit on... Like, I watched Holly talk about the patch notes, and it, like, kind of got me into this game. I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. And then I started playing it, and I told Holly about it, and, like, she was just like, hey, check your inventory. It fucking bought me Lavos, like, and Cedo, just to play, because I was like, there's an Alchemist frame, I'm gonna get him! And Holly just fucking bought him for me. And now it's like, okay, I can't stop playing this game now, it's really fun. It was such a smileful moment, it made me so happy. I've done that for a bunch of my friends now, where it's like, oh, I think this frame looks really fun. And I'll just, like, buy it for them. Yeah, I wanna fucking put that energy forward, you know?
For synthesis. Tame this creature so you may perform the synthesis I require.
Yeah, it's like such a fun way to like get people into the game. But it truly is the game of the patient gamer, right? A pervert is somebody who is obsessed with something. Yeah, I say pervert just to mean like a person who's really into something. Like I'm a pervert for the occult. I can't stop looking at it. The fucking build craft that you have to do in the end game is nuts. What are we doing rank-wise? Probably just go to Eris after this. The Penitent Gamer. Give us a Lance Connect frame. I do love melee frames. Like, some of the most fun that I've had in a looter shooter was playing fucking Krieg in Borderlands 2. I love any, like... I love any frame or, like, playstyle where it's like, you die in 2 hits and your health is constantly draining. But as long as you're killing things, you can heal yourself.
Another successful mission.
And if you kill things fast enough with your melee weapon, just swinging it wildly, you can stay alive. That was some of the most fun I've ever had in a looter shooter. Is Borderlands any good? It can be mechanically fun. The writing's just annoying. I think they're good games. I wish you could skip the cutscenes. Demo night. Yes, I love playing demo night. Ball. Is the new Borderlands any good? I don't know. I haven't... I played 3. That was fun. I basically beat it with every character and then just, like, stopped playing it. I haven't played any of the DLCs. CD, if you delete the video files in Borderlands 3, the game skips the cutscene. That's so funny. Oh, you played Cruelty Squad. Do you know if Gnosticism reference add up to anything? Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god, it's one of the... I don't know if you've beaten that entire game, but you literally, like, shoot the Demiurge with a gun. No, it's like the lore of Cruelty Squad is like has very poignant Gnosticism references. Yeah, no, it's a very coherent reference. This is not a joke / troll. That was a solution I saw on Reddit and it worked for me. I really forget that you used to play competitive TF2 CT. Weren't you an NG main? Yup. 14th best in United States and Europe. In Silver League. Yeah, I played Pro TF2 for a season. I was a very, very good professional engineer. I haven't played TF2 in like 10 years. Yeah, I played Pro NG. I played Highlander.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marine stationed here. Leave no one.
I have some of the gamer's soul, right? I'm not a pervert for video games like some of the RTVS crew are, but I like video games. I like specific types of video games.
Them to open a relic, but are you
I'm not a gamer, but I believe in their beliefs. What's your preferred relic acquisition farm? Capture. Capture missions.
for reactant? Collect reactant to open your relic. Be aware. Only corrupted enemies.
Yeah, moderate amounts of light gamer particles. I have moderate gamer contamination.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
You have the gamer's Sechem and Ba, but not its Ka. Indeed. Great job, Chimera. Great multi-partate Egyptian soul reference, bro. Make another.
A Grenier assault team is headed
I don't know what your pronouns are, but so sorry if I misgendered you by saying bro, but the sentiment's all the same. Oh, sick. Castlevania reference. Chimera, what are your pronouns?
Your relic is open.
You're just a piece of purple text on my screen. Let's get to know each other. They, them. Dope. Alright, cool. Freter and Soror? I would say, like, why not just call someone, like, Initiate or something? Gamer particles have a negative charge and Nazi particles have a positive charge. I don't know. You see them on the same part in the same compound sometimes. That's why they attract. Ah, I see. Wouldn't it just be sibling in Latin? I don't think there's... Is there a sibling in Latin? Like, does it have a word for sibling?
Their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful
Latin's a
mission
gendered
on
language, ain't it?
extraction. Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
I don't know. I'm literally asking. What's the neutron of gamer and Nazi particles? Fucking, poster.
I will reward you should you perform synthesis.
Just use sibling. Germanum. I'd also recommend Alejo pronouns extension for Twitch. Let you set your own pronouns, makes them show up next to other people's names. Good for forgetful stuff. Yeah, I'll figure out Twitch integration for other shit like that eventually. Ball. Fuck it, we ball. Fuck it, we ball. Testicle. Testicle. Oh shit, we've been live for a long time. We should take a little break.
Work, Tenno.
What do you think, y'all? Do you want to go to 4 hours? I think we can go to 4 hours. All right, back in a bit. Hello, everyone. And we're back. Did you all get water? I got water. Almost said hello out loud back to you. Low. Peanut butter noodle or tuna noodle? I'd say peanut butter noodle. If you get a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of lime juice, maybe a little bit of coconut oil. Make some chili oil, chili crisp. Makes yourself some bootleg pad thai. That shit's good. You add sesame oil and Maggi to everything you eat? Yup. That's fucking true. A glass of water and even a stretch? Wow. That's pretty cool. Need to make bread again. One of these days I'll learn to bake. One of these days.
These offerings are pure.
I only have one more weapon that I need from this fucking syndicate. That focaccia. That was such good focaccia, dude. Need to return to my roots as a pastry freak. One of these days. One of these days I'll get into baking. It'll happen. Trust me. I want to learn to make good ass curry first. You can just buy Phosphor? I haven't actually done that shit with Lloyd. I'm only like rank 2 with the Cavia. Used to make all that shit in your brief time as a housewife? Yup. Whenever I'm in a large group of people, like staying at a house or something, it's always my job to cook. Phosphor here isn't a good ROI, but it's certainly a way to get arcanes. The only arcanes I really need right now are like the primary deadhead for my shotgun. And I need the arcanes that you get from killing the Steel Path Stalker Acolytes. I made fucking Pav Bhaji the other day. That was so fucking good. I've been wanting to make that forever. Actually, let's go turn in our... Wait, I wanted to check a thing first. Shit. Trying to... Wait, no, it'll tell me. Oh my god. Alright, alright, alright. We're gonna go see Letitia. My daily standing limit... Oh, 3 hours. Damn.
Waste my time. In a horrible city
Some Acolyte Arcanes if you want them. Maybe if you're in the Discord, tell me there. We can trade. Let's go crack more relics. Not enough for a full one. That's okay. I've got like... Oh yeah, if you're not in the Discord, hit !Discord to go check it out. Also, if you think I'm funny, throw me some money on Patreon. Absolutely no pressure, but I gotta plug it. There you go. Get in there, Tiger. Clearly, you're a giraffe. Been telling my friends about Goetic demons each week for a birthday, and this week was my boy Valifar, one of my favorites. I do have a soft spot for the Goetic demons. Somewhere I have notes for a whole story I wrote involving them. It's a concept I don't think I'll ever use, though. It's like so low on the list of things that I want to write.
There is a large platoon of Grenier Marines stationed here. Leave no one standing. Watch out. I'm detecting void fissures nearby.
Driving down to a LARP today. Stream made traffic almost bearable. Hey, well, I'm glad.
You found a fissure. Look out for reactions.
My character for Royal Royale is based off one. Badass! I know. I haven't watched Royal Royale. I hope that shit's fun.
Find more.
Got my hands on a copy of The Lesser Key.
Approaching.
Been poring over it, looking at all the funny little guys. There's some excellent, like, primo illustrations of the Goetic demons. Get giraffe are real animals because I use the name so much. I get that.
That's it. You opened the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
Whee! Speed boost, yay!
Keep moving.
Fun, playing, toys, toys! Do you have a VOD channel? Yup. It's in the Discord. Just say Goeta demons? No, Goetic demons. Not Goeta demons. I need to post the Friendles gif. Please do. Your evening Friendles gif, sir.
You will play toys.
Yeah, I do like how the powers of a lot of Goetic demons are like, they let you learn things really fast. They teach you liberal arts and the knowledge of herbs and stones. Grendel's playing gif is posted. Let's go. A sacred ibis flies through my window and enunciates this at me every time I turn on my computer.
You will play toys.
Lord Thoth? It's not even Philosophy Friday. What are you doing here? Ball. My god, through hellish powers, a peasant has learned the times tables. RPG Maker Tax Audit Sim. I like the Goetic demons that can change where dead people are. Yup. Also, welcome to chat. There's one that just builds castles. What are the Goetic demons, if you don't mind me asking? The Goetic demons are a series of entities that are present in many European grimoires. They're one of the intellectual traditions that we have here in the West is the European grimoire tradition, which is a occult intellectual tradition of, like, basically people get together, they compile a book of magic, right? They write down all the spells you know, and you put them in a damn book. And the Goetic demons are a list of 72 demons that are commonly repeated throughout many texts. Also, there are so many angels. There are infinite angels. And there's... Would it be gauche if I said Stolas was my favorite? He is the pleb take, but he is cool. Like, let's not be real here. Actually, strike that. Let's be real here. There's a reason Stolas is everyone's favorite. He looks cool and he has cool powers. I for one, like Dantalion. I like the one that's like a wheel of lion legs. I always hear about the number 72 in reference to demons, but I never knew any origins. It's... well, what on earth, dude? It's probably a remnant of earlier texts from Jewish esoterica, right? There's a lot of books like the Sword of Moses and shit, or the Secret Book of Moses in earlier Jewish esoterica that have long lists of angels that can be invoked in similar ways. And the Solomonic tradition, the European grimoire tradition, is probably an evolution out of that series of texts. Because of my character's namesake, making men witty in all ways, I make puzzles for the green team. There's an amazing clip of Sophie and Matt trying to guess Minecraft steak for 30 minutes. That's fun. Good. Use your demon powers to torture streamers. This is good and righteous. I like Fornius. I don't know him off the top of my head. Let me Google him real quick. Oh, he's the sea creature one. Cool. That's a good one. That's a good pick. Fate Goet alert. Yeah, a little. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. It's fine. What is a grimoire? Is it different from a tome? No, not really. It's a grimoire is just like a book of spells. It literally means book of shadows. Yes, the single knight of hell. The lowest ranking demon. I love him. This guy doesn't even have the 72 demons memorized. Haters will see you read the Enneads cover to cover and be like, he can't name all of the Goetic demons off the top of their head. I have no respect for the haters, by the way. So Grimoire of Shadows is redundant? Yes. I hit that syllable real gay. Yes, it is. Gramarye, that's the one. Yeah. Only as redundant as chai tea. Well, yeah, it's fine. That's correct enough. Because there is a language transform from Grimoire to Book of Shadows. I believe you've made several posts specifically about your respect for the haters. Yeah, I have a principled and academic respect for the haters. Not many appreciate this about me.
Keep moving. None of the scanners have detected you.
God, there was a bit where the rest of Meat Planet, we were thinking of like what our sonas would all be if we like fusion danced together, and we haven't really talked about it, but Candy and I came up with a fusion of Imp and Maddie named Beleth, who's just a shithead, and is specifically based on the Goetic demon, like visually. There is Paimon's design in hell of a boss. And where is his dromedary? Yeah, he needs the fucking camel. Where's the camel? It's important. Who is IRC an imp and a shithead? Yes, this is good. Yeah, the Duplancy illustration of Beleth is like a little cat playing a trumpet in a very coy way, and we felt that it fit very well for our the combination of our personalities. Yes, Amdusius. That's the horse playing the trumpet. You guys are distracting me. I'm so late for extraction. Tatsu, Paris, whatever. Now the other gamers will think I'm cringe. Fuck.
Another job well executed.
I'm gonna be late for extraction practice. It is kind of funny, like, running across one or two fucking, like, JRPGs that have goetic demons in them and just seeing how they interpret them. Where it's clearly, like, this is a Japanese dev that clearly just, like, kind of looked up Western demons and figured something out. Why weren't you at extraction practice? Nobody really talks about how real as fuck Ouroboros is.
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle more of the enemy. Keep fighting. Another opportunity to extract will appear soon.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei, Bloodstained, fucking, I know Cult of the Lamb also had all of them be based on goetic demons. You know, as much as I like the goetic demons, I don't think there's one that I would want tattooed on my body. Someone described it derogatorily as looking like a tattoo design. Yeah, I can see that. Is Marcosius? Yup. Are you a tattoo haver? I have one tattoo. I will not tell you what it is. Is there anything you'd have tattooed? I've liked the idea in the past of getting a tattoo of Fanes. It's gotta be right. Like, I come across a lot of esoteric symbology in my time on this earth, and it feels like every time I'm, like, deeply resonating with something, it feels like that's the moment where I'm like, actually, this other thing seems cooler. Back tattoo of Lavos Prime in the Jeb pose. I could do like that one depiction of Yahweh and get the Greek letters tattooed across my chest. Specifically the vowels. It would be really fun to get the Akephalos specifically from the PGM tattooed somewhere, like the kind of fucked up looking one. Get a tattoo of the Warframe Piggy Dog. Which Warframe Piggy Dog, James? Oh, you mean the Kavats? Piggy Doggy, you know him. I guess I do, James. I guess I do. You're right, I do know the Piggy Doggy. No, the Kubro. James talking about the Kubro.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now?
Yeah, the Kavats are the cats. My mistake.
Continue to defend.
There's a... Wait, there's a goetic demon just named Leonard? Yup. A lot of the names of goetic demons are just, like, slightly corrupted, like, normal-ass names. Yes, there's also just one called Amy. Or I am. Yup, my little clown freak is named I am. Aww, that's really cute, Cinema Machine. My Kavat is named Chef. 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 Who's the Warframe with the grappling hook? It's not Vauban, is it? Valkyr, yeah. What's Valkyr's subsume ability? Warcry? Oh. Oh, is it good? Actually, that... Second question. What's fucking Goss's subsume ability? Thermal Sunder? That makes sense. There's no way that they would give Redline to another frame. Popular on Titania, I can see that. Isn't Lavos' Ophidian Bite?
Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting? Continue to
Putting Redline on Volt and entering the nth dimension, yeah. Yeah, I fucked around with Valkyr recently and I just like didn't know what you were supposed to do with that frame. She needs a rework, touch-up. I see, I see. I do like how the early Warframe abilities were like, this ability increases your damage by 20% for 13 seconds. And then the new ones are like, you can cycle through 4 abilities that each depend on whatever previous 2 abilities you used last, and then if any enemies within a 30-meter radius have a slash and a puncture and a fire proc, it doubles your damage multiplier for 8 seconds. There's got to be at least one Goetic demon that's, like, could be applied to gaming skill. Yeah, and the 20% damage boost ability has been meta for, like, a decade, because it's just straight up good. And then you have shit like Ember's Fireball, which is like, it shoots a projectile that does fire damage, and then now it has, like, the ×8 multiplier if you use it in succession. It's really cool how you can tell, like, which frames have been rebalanced and added to over time. What was Ember's old alt? Also, have y'all been playing around with the new fucking Nova? She's nuts! I got her in the circuit the other day, and the amount of damage I was putting out was genuinely shocking to me. I haven't played her in like a year. Like, I wasn't even having to think about Nova, and I was putting out insane amounts of DPS. Yeah, it is cool how you can just kind of, like, no matter what your favorite frame is, you can make it endgame viable. It just might take a little more elbow grease, but you can do it. This demon teacheth man movement, while this demon teacheth men fundamental. Oberon still needs a new hip? I haven't even gotten Oberon yet. Oberon is bad. What's Oberon's whole gimmick? I've never played him before. Oh, he's just like a healer, paladin, druid shtick. We already have Trinity. Also, whoever over at Digital Extremes had the idea of, like, inventing the proto-frames and, like, giving a human face to the Warframes in the 1999 update, that person deserves $1 million, because, being able to turn Warframe into, like, characters that you can draw, like, horny source filmmaker fan art of, that's brilliant. That's, like, genuinely brilliant. Yes, and everyone's like, I need a mirror to be real. Listen. Cinema. One of these days, they're gonna add the Hildren proto-frame, and people are gonna go crazy for her. It's gonna happen. Yeah, people are already getting horny for the armors, but then it's like, they're gonna make fucking... they're gonna make Valkyr, or not Valkyr, they're gonna make Hildren that one tweet of like, yeah, we know you've been arrested, but the police are denying your desire to be stepped on by muscle women as punishment. You're going to jail. seen how people reacted to Eleanor, and even before they had that scene where she like stuck her 9-foot-long tongue down someone's throat. I appreciate how the Warframe devs clearly are like, people are gonna be horny for these characters, and so they didn't go too hard with it, right? They got one. It's like, okay, once you get like 20 hours into the main game, into the story, you get like one scene of Eleanor like shoving her tongue into someone's neck. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. 9-foot tongue. Don't worry about it. What if you don't like the proto-frame? I mean, God forbid, they've all been very cool characters. What if you don't vibe with them, your main personality-wise? Well, they're from an alternate timeline. Don't worry about it. Right? They're not the actual Warframe. It's like, we've got fucking Pumpkin Boy here. Doesn't really matter what his 1999 version is going to be. It is. It's... Okay. I wouldn't call it horny in a tasteful way. It's horny in a measured way. Right? Prime time showing Arthur in maid outfit. Also just like looking at Quincy and kicking my feet. Yeah, it's not too horny. That's the point. And also they're like genuinely charming characters. I enjoy seeing them interact with each other. Like there was a bit with fucking the psychic bitch who had a bit where it was like, yeah, I got psychic powers, and for a little bit, I was like going to the bathroom every 5 minutes because I was getting the bodily impulses of everyone around me. Like, every time they had to go pee, my psychic powers were like, oh, my body has to go pee. That's such a good little character moment. Like, they do a really good job of humanizing the proto-frames in a very interesting way. Yeah, she was a fucking piss empath for a couple months, and then she figured it out. It's fine. And on that note, I think it might be time to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys, just talking about shit. I hope you learned something. I hope you have enough to share with somebody else you like. And hey, before you take off, feel free to, if I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you scream in terror, please, like, throw some money my way on my Patreon. It's linked at the bottom of the stream, right there. Absolutely no pressure, but I appreciate it. I'm only able to do stuff like this because you guys are throwing me money. Let's see who's live right now. Yeah, hey, Chimera, that's a good thing. Remember to make something beautiful today. Ah, no one's live. All right. Catch you later, everyone.